1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Almost 2 full days later, still doesn't make any sense, at least to me, and that is the blockbuster trade that everyone is talking about. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Luka Dončić heads to the Lakers. Pearl, we came to New Orleans. We thought this was going to be football 24/7, and what happened? The NBA swooped in with this blockbuster.
All right, it's 2 days in. Are we sure? We're sure it's not a fake, right?
Yeah, I know. I watched Luka get off a private jet yesterday in LA, so I think it's true.
I know they play the Clippers tonight. Will he be in shorts? I mean, we all thought the same thing. Shams is has been hacked.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing. Like, I've never seen a trade where people just didn't believe it.
Didn't believe it, and also because even 2 days later, it still doesn't make sense in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Now, you had a lot of people explain, if you want the details of the trade, just quickly, Luka Dončić, Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris all go to the Lakers. Dallas gets Anthony Davis, gets Max Christie, a 2029 first-rounder. The Jazz get Jalen Hood Schiaffino, and 2 second-round picks. The Jazz being part of this is just hilarious. But anyway, let's get to the part of this and why I think some people still are kind of reconciling with this, and we will be for a long time, is because it still doesn't make a lot of sense, to me. And I've heard now a lot, because it's been 2 days, so a lot of people are getting their point of view across and getting their sources and all of that. And one of the biggest things has been Luka Dončić and his conditioning, right? That's been one of the big major reasons that the Dallas Mavericks didn't want to make a gigantic supermax contract bet that Luka Dončić was going to be able to stay in shape, focused, what have you. And my answer to that would be, you just got to the finals 7 months ago. Like, if he's really this, if he's really being painted as like this fat slob who's on the couch, how did you get to the finals? How is he somebody who is leading you to the finals, Pearl? That's the biggest part I can't get past. One of the big parts, not the biggest.
Well, I mean, getting the finals and winning a finals is a very different thing. Can I just bring my 76ers to this? Allen Iverson made it to the finals, and guess what? He was nowhere close to getting a ring. So it just that kind of, first of all, that kind of player. Let's talk about Luka for a second. Has that kind of player ever won a title? Like, he's different, a really super ball dominant outside guy. I think it's not just the conditioning; it's just the way he plays. I think some teams look at that and be like, "Oh, he's great. He's going to win a ton of regular season games." I don't know if he can win a title with that kind of player. He's basically right-handed James Harden, and I know that you're going to say that's a diss.
Yeah.
But James Harden won an MVP. He's so similar to Harden. I just think if you look at it through that lens, like, basically the Lakers got James Harden.
Okay, well, so you think this is bad for the Lakers?
I don't think it's bad. I think getting rid of AD, who's going to be out of the league. I mean, getting James Harden would be a good move getting a 25-year-old James Harden would be a great move for the Lakers. They had no choice. They had to take this gift, but I don't think it guarantees the title by any means.
So our question for you this morning at Maggie and Pearl on X, and our poll question would be, who wins a title first? The Lakers or the Mavericks? Because now the race is on. The Mavericks said this was a win now move. They wanted Anthony Davis, who's been playing great, just got a little bit banged up. But it's so weird to me that you would trade a guy because you're worried about his conditioning, and you traded for a dude whose nickname is Street Clothes. Mm-hmm. Anthony Davis is fantastic, great rim protector, great defensive player, offense, everything. But his availability has been one that's been questioned for years because of injury. Not because of conditioning, but because of injury.
I don't understand the package they got back because the fact that they didn't shop him really, as far as we know.
Did not. No, they said they did not.
That they could have gotten more for one of the best players in the league. But I understand their philosophy because, listen, my 76ers are in the same exact spot. They had a ball-dominant center, Joel Embiid, who they signed to a ridiculous contract, and he won't get in shape, and he'll never, ever, ever correct his knee. Now, Luka's had this calf issue,
right,
and he's putting on too much weight. So maybe he'll have spurts where he's in shape, but I understand long-term they don't think that this is going to work. And I get it.
Hold on.
I totally get it.
There's no proof of concept that Joel Embiid can get past the second round in the playoffs. There's absolutely none. Luka Dončić just got you to a finals. So how can
it kind of worked out that he got you to the finals. Let's not think that Luka Dončić and the Mavs are going to the finals every year because that is not the reality.
Well, but who's going to the finals every year, right? Like the Celtics? Like there's not right now. The Warriors before, when Steph and Clay and Draymond were all in their prime with KD. I don't know if anyone's going to the finals every year anymore. There's a lot of parity right now. There's a lot of talent in the league. I just don't see where you could say we're going to give up on this guy, right? And I know that there's probably not a magic thing you can say to him to make him care about his conditioning or whatever, but to throw the baby out with the bathwater when you have a guy who, you think he's James Harden. I mean, he's a top 5 guy in the league.
And James Harden was not.
Well, James Harden was, but James Harden also had never got to a finals and really melted in the biggest moments, right? Where Dončić is a lot more of a closer, and you had him there with Kyrie, who is also a proven commodity in the postseason. He did win a title, 1-1 with LeBron, of course. And Kyrie's a proven postseason player. So I just felt like it was set up differently. I think other people wanted to play with Luka, like in terms of attracting more people to Dallas.
Well, that I don't know. Luka is not exactly the kind of player you want to play with.
Okay, well, LeBron clearly is going to play with him. So
yeah.
I didn't see LeBron saying, get me out of here. I can't work like this.
Well, I think Luka would pair. You know who would be a great combination with Luka?
Who?
Anthony Davis.
Well,
put those two together.
That ship sailed.
It's an interesting
now you tell them.
Let's look at this big picture. Okay, the Lakers have this small window with LeBron and Luka right now.
Yeah.
Can they win a title? That's going to be tough, but maybe their odds went up. Then how do you pair? Who are you going to pair with Luka moving forward to bring back another title of the Lakers? It's going to be an interesting challenge. Kind of maybe like a Pau Gasol to Kobe. Like he needs to complement a guy who plays well with him. I don't think LeBron is that necessarily. They're a bit similar.
Right. So that's the whole Lakers part of it, and we can unpack that. And again, we're asking you on X, who's going to win a title sooner? Is it going to be Dallas or is it going to be the Lakers? The Lakers' odds skyrocketed after this trade. They're down from 40-1 to 18-1 to win the title.
Yeah.
And LeBron's throwing down tomahawk dunks at the Garden the other night.
I'd actually go Mavs, but I think both teams are a long shot because the West is stacked anyway. It's ridiculous. So, but at least I understand that because I don't think Luka's career is going to ascend. I really don't think
he's 26. How can we say that?
Because I don't see it. I could be totally wrong on this, but I just think that you look at what has been the key to LeBron. The dude spends $1 million a year on his body, and that was 3 years ago. It's probably up to $1.5 million with inflation and the tariffs.
Yeah.
So
in this economy.
Yeah, I just think that you see title players. Name a guy like Luka who's won a title.
Okay, but here's the thing. LeBron also is a different kind of player. He's an above-the-rim player.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly, he's still at 40. He's an above-the-rim player. That's not Luka. Luka's not above the rim.
Right.
So in terms of, do you need $1 million into your body? Well, he's not, screaming down the lane and, going back for this gigantic one-handed dunk. That's not Luka's game. So I think it's a game that ages well, and it's kind of a game that I don't think you necessarily need to be the most, in-shape player in the NBA to get the most out of. It's sometimes it reminds me a little of Barkley was a guy who was not always in shape all the time, but was still effective. And
yes,
a starting.
how did he get to the finals? He got in sick shape for 1 year and made it to the final.
That could still happen for Luka.
Yeah, you have okay.
We have a while to go here, dudes. And then the other part is,
Come on, man.
it's a little like I know Barkley just caught a stray. It's a little bit like a starting pitcher sometimes in Major League Baseball. Like, do they look like maybe the best athletes? No, but
This
they
is
know
the
their
NBA.
body. Pearl, it's not like he's been, floundering as the eighth man on the bench because he can't get in shape. He's been one of the best players in the NBA and also dealing with these issues. So why wouldn't you think that a light bulb could go off, or you could find the right regimen for him, or he'll get motivated in a way? And I think it's all on the team. It's a little on the team taking responsibility for that as well.
Watch him play. He will hang out around the three-point line. He'll either score or facilitate, but he passes the ball. And if you're a Warrior, you pass the ball and you back cut immediately.
Right.
Luka just stands there. And will LeBron change his style of play? That's the big thing. Like, that style, he's so ball dominant and he does not move away from the ball. That never wins a title. Think of the Jordan's Bulls. They whipped the ball around like crazy. You never knew where the ball was. With guys like Harden and guys like Luka, you know exactly where the ball is at all times. It's in his hands. It's the easiest assignment to play defense. So I'm very curious, can LeBron make Luka into a championship player? Because I think the way Luka plays, yes, they made the finals. It was a crazy set of matchups. They got the T-Wolves in the conference finals who weren't ready to be there. I do not think that team was on the brink of a title. So who's closer? Actually, I'll vote for Dallas on that one, although you're going to need a lot of good luck with health on that side, too.
No kidding. No kidding.
A lot of good luck.
We are live from New Orleans. Did I mention that? We're here in New Orleans for the Super Bowl, and we can still talk to you just because we're on the road. Doesn't change anything. 855-212-4227. Let us know what you think. We're on in Dallas. We're on in California. We want to know how this is going down. And just NBA fans, stunning.
Oh, my God.
The NBA has a way to shock us like no other league.
Well, there's never been a shocking trade like this. This is the most surprising. Try and think of anything even close, because everybody else is at least, like, Jimmy Butler's been on the trade block for a month. Like, if he got traded, it wouldn't be shocking. Shaq, when he went, like, we all knew something was brewing. I can't remember something came out in the middle of the night like this.
LeBron James taking his talents to South Beach was legitimately shocking. Now, there had been some things that leaked out a little bit before. That's revisionist history.
Shocking.
Most people thought he was going back to Cleveland, though.
Shocking. This came out in the middle of the night. He scheduled a press conference at the Boys and Girls Club. We knew a move was coming.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people believed he was still going back to Cleveland. And, yeah, he scheduled the press conference at the Boys and Girls Club, but it was still stunning when he made the announcement, when he actually said it. When the words came out of his mouth.
Different kind of
stunned.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, I don't think. And also, the Lakers, how do they do these things? LeBron, Shaq, Kareem, Kobe, go down the list. Wilt. People hand them these things.
This felt like it. This is why sports conspiracy theorists, this is why we live. This is our oxygen. This is people like me who are sports conspiracy theorists who think that the envelope was frozen and that Michael Jordan had to take a timeout for gambling and all that stuff. This is fuel for people like me.
So how would a conspiracy like this work, though? Like, what's the point?
I don't know. That's what I can't get to the bottom of. Like, it's too obvious. Why did you just hand this guy to the Lakers, and why didn't you shop him? See, like, another thing. And we'll get to your calls at 855-212-4227 on this Luka AD blockbuster. But here's the thing. Like, everyone in the NBA feels like they're okay getting uncomfortable. Whether it's the team side, whether it's the player side, saying that you want to trade or saying you're going to trade a player, openly shopping guys like in the off season or even during the season. There's a way to do this where you can go like small awkward, medium awkward, maximum awkward. Like the Heat right now, maximum awkward. You had maximum awkward when Carmelo Anthony wanted to get out of Denver. There's like maximum awkward stuff, but then there's minimal. And the way that you do that is you leak things. You leak things through reporters and others, say, someone's thinking about this. And then you kind of let it marinate for a little bit, and you go from there. Why the Dallas Mavericks decided to just call the Lakers, and I believe that did happen, call the Lakers and say, hey, can we have, do you want our best player? I don't understand, because the open market would have gotten you who knows what. Now, a player of Anthony Davis's caliber, I don't know, but a better package, maybe.
I think it's Nico Harrison has a thing for Anthony Davis. I think that's the one player around the league he wanted.
Well, then you shouldn't. Then you have to question yourself as a GM if you have some built-in biases, or if you have something because of a relationship they had going back to Nike or whatever, that you're not seeing things clearly. Because if I'm the owner of the Mavericks, I'm like, what did you just do? Why would you take our best asset and not try to get the maximum, at least see what's out there? You could have always landed on Anthony Davis. We could have circled back around and gotten Davis. But the fact that you wouldn't survey the landscape is silly.
Okay, I'll just counter that with one thing. You do not necessarily want to trade Luka for a bunch of draft picks. You want a star back. And who's a star that you could have gotten for Luka? There's not a lot of names. Like, we're talking like a handful of guys that you could even mention in the same sentence with Luka.
Okay, but see, that's the thing. I want to know. I want to see who
Like,
else is
name
putting
one.
together a package for me at some point.
You're not
getting
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You're not get. There's very few players that are even as good as Anthony Davis that would even be remotely available.
Okay, but you also have to ask yourself, why is Anthony Davis available? Why were the Lakers so willing to say, all right, bye? Somebody who they moved heaven and earth to get only a couple years ago, someone that they won a title with, and it's because of his injuries. You traded for a guy whose nickname is Street Clothes, as I said. It's just crazy. Can we hear some sound, please? Manny's back at HQ holding things down. Let's hear cut 3. Here's Mavericks GM Nico Harrison, who, I'm going to be honest, I don't think was a household name until this weekend. And now Nico Harrison is no longer an anonymous GM. He is now front and center on why they traded Luka Dončić.
I think it wasn't really like a point. I think it was like, how do we make our team better? There's some unique things about his contract that we had to pay attention to. There's other teams that were loading up, that he was going to be able to make his own decision at some point of whether he wants to be here or not, whether we want to supermax him or not, or whether he wants to opt out. So I think we had to take all that into consideration and feel like we got out in front of what could have been a tumultuous summer.
Okay, didn't have the stomach for it. Okay,
I mean,
have
the
the
guy
stomach for it.
had a lot of plans. He has a lake house. Like, why deal with that in the summer?
Jet skis. Like, what do you think Luka Dončić does in his spare time?
Are you going to ruin your summer arguing with Luka's people about a contract? I get it.
Listen, there were no indications, at least from a lot of people who cover this team in Dallas, that he was going to be opting out. Now, was he going to do the whole dance, and was he going to maybe look at other things? Probably, but every single person is signed a Supermax when they've been offered a Supermax. Why would he be different when you just went to the finals?
Well, maybe he did. Maybe they don't want to give him, what is it, $375 million? It's almost $500 million. Maybe, I get it. Listen, I do. I'm not saying it's the right move, but I at least see the logic. Are we really going to invest $500 million in a guy who will not get in shape, and we think his health will go downward? And they might look at the Sixers and Joel Embiid because they gave him almost $500 million, and he's 30, and he's pretty much done. So I think
Luka's
that
26, though. They're not the same, Pearl. And
they very what?
Joel Embiid's like 7'1" too. Like, there's all these different things where they're just not the same.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, but he does have a calf strain right now, and you know what a calf strain means. That means your Achilles vulnerable. They might think that Luka's best days are, believe it or not, behind him, which is crazy. I don't know that.
No, that's the bet they're making.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't think Luka is like got some crazy. I think we're seeing this is Luka. Like, he's not going to get any better. He's awesome already. I just think if they don't win the title with LeBron and Luka this year, it's not going to happen next year. So I think that one thing I'm hearing is, the Lakers have just got this championship formula for the next decade. That I don't see yet.
The LeBron of it all we will get into next, because now LeBron gets paired up with yet another star, yet another person who they're going to say he'll pass the torch to. But will he? That's
What do you
not
mean?
the LeBron I know.
What do you mean? He'll just play forever?
Well, I mean, or just now. LeBron wants to win right now.
So what do you mean he won't pass? Of course he'll pass the torch. What choices he have?
I'm saying maybe I
Father
should have
time.
said pass the basketball.
Oh, no, LeBron, that's one thing. LeBron will pass the basketball. Will Luka pass the basketball? LeBron loves to pass the basketball. That's his natural state. I think it's about time LeBron gets somebody else handling the ball. That's fine. You think LeBron? Trust me, as an old person like LeBron, that's fine. Somebody else, you do the dribbling. You think LeBron's going to ball hog away from Luka? There's no chance that happens.
We'll get into LeBron James of it all, the Lakers side of this. Again, we're here at the Super Bowl in New Orleans, Radio Row, and all that's on anyone's mind is basketball because of the blockbuster trade. Also had another trade go down yesterday, like a mini blockbuster. Get into that too for our pals in Northern California and in San Antonio. We'll dive into that as well. It's Maggie and Perloff. We're live from Radio Row here in New Orleans, and we're back talking about the Lakers right after this.
I'll tell you one thing, Maggie.
What's that?
One way to enjoy the Luka Laker experience is Prize Picks. They play tomorrow night against the Clippers. Can't wait to see the projection. Every day, the first thing we do, Maggie, is we get on our phones and we say, what is happening tonight on Prize Picks, the best place to play every sport, basketball, golf, gaming, and, of course, the big game on Sunday. The app's simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection. You can win up to 1,000 times your money. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in 40-plus states, including California and Texas.
And we're talking a lot about hoops right now, but let's not forget about football and the big game, because right now Prize Picks is giving away a free pick for that game where a quarterback will only need to throw 1 yard to win. I think we can be winners on that one. I think we can make that happen. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code MMP. Get a $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. $50 in bonus promo funds when you play $5. That's code MMP on Prize Picks to get a $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. Win or lose, you get the $50 in bonus credits for just playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game, must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Coming down on the plane, the stewardess made an annoying announcement, Maggie. We're down in New Orleans. She said, remember, Eagles fans, if you get arrested on Sunday, you don't get out of jail till Tuesday. I mean, what kind of attitude is that? You don't think Eagles fans know the local statutes here? Like, everybody has lawyers on retainer. That's obvious. Hello. Also, the Eagles hats outnumber the Chiefs hats 10-0 here in New Orleans. There is green everywhere. Maybe that's anecdotal, or Eagles fans are here earlier. Have you noticed that? There's a lot of, the airport is loaded with Eagles fans and Eagles hats. I have not seen a lot of red. I heard the tickets is like very, very heavy majority of the tickets are going to Philadelphia fans.
Well, I have a question. Like, why can't you get out of jail on Monday?
I have no idea.
It's like an extra 24 hours just to hang out in the prison?
She was trying to discourage Philadelphia people from climbing poles here in
Just
New Orleans.
Going Philly, air quotes.
Yeah, which I'm not sure is going to happen, to be honest, unless Eagles fans do that in a loss.
I could see Eagles fans being crazy either way. I've seen a couple Chiefs. I've seen a few Chiefs
really? I
around our hotel a little bit.
I haven't seen any red. Seen a ton of green.
Well, I mean, it's like almost like the Super Bowl has to wait a minute. Even Patrick Mahomes, who's from Texas famously, was on social media yesterday or now about 2 days ago saying, I can't, I'm in shock right now over the Dallas Mavericks trade.
Yeah.
Like, you got Patrick Mahomes' attention when he's preparing for, let's be honest, is this the biggest moment of his career? We can get into that. Like, he's got all the pressure in the world is on Mahomes for the three-peat. And he's out there saying, I'm sad right now because Luka Dončić is no longer a member of the Mavs. And
well, I'm sure he's not taking away time from his tape study to think about this trade.
I don't know. That's a lot of text messages to return.
Here.
Everyone's talking
Get
about
out of
it.
Here.
Let's go to the phones, 855-212-4227. Let's go to the scene of the crime. That'd be Dallas, Texas. Tyler, you're up first here on Maggie and Perloff Super Bowl week. What's up, Tyler?
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I can just say that Dallas fans are devastated right now. Obviously, we've had to deal with Jerry Jones and his shenanigans, and then you come with a gut punch of getting rid of, just an amazing athlete like Dončić. So obviously you've got that. But, I say this to say that if you guys don't think that Luka isn't going to take this as fire in the belly to be better than what he is, now that he's under LeBron, and he said in the past that LeBron's his idol. Obviously Braun takes care of his body. He's going to show him the right way to do things, and he's going to actually go out there and dominate. So Dallas fans have a rude awakening coming in the next few years. One thing, long term, I think Nico, I have a feeling that he's going to trade Livingston. We're stacked in the front court, so they're going to trade Livingston and some picks for Butler out of Miami.
Whoa.
Wow.
Really interesting. Well, Tyler, thank you for the call. I don't know if I see that, but we'll see. The trade deadline is Thursday. You know what's funny about the Nico Harrison part? And I understand it probably feels a bit like a funeral in Dallas when a star of that caliber gets traded. It's such a shocking thing. Did you see someone actually brought a casket to outside the arena? I mean, maybe now we're getting a little crazy, guys. I generally don't like when people like burn jerseys and things like that, but the casket to the arena, that is new. Anyway, I think that if this was Pat Riley who did this deal, or when Jerry West was at the helm, or one of these GMs and presidents who you just had a lot of faith in, right? Seen a lot of basketball, been around the block. If the Spurs had done something like this, these teams that we think of as being really smart, on top of their game, Boston Celtics, teams you're afraid to make a trade with because you always feel like they may know more than you or something like that. Nico Harrison is an unknown. He was a Nike executive for 20 years, so he's got relationships, no doubt, and he might get proven right on this if Luka completely implodes. But nobody in Dallas should have any faith because you just took a team that went to the finals for the first time since 2011 and you torpedoed it. So how could anyone in Dallas feel differently?
Well, Luka's not going to implode. I think
the opposite could happen. Tyler's
the
saying he's going to get motivated and be the best version.
Right. The only thing that matters for the Mavs is can they win a title with Kyrie and Anthony Davis? Right. Isn't that the litmus test?
Sure, but I also think there's a part of, if Luka goes on and wins 3 titles with the Lakers, you're going to look stupid.
Yeah, well, Luka's going to be good. I mean, Luka's always been productive. But I think the Mavs are saying we think Anthony Davis can win us a title. I mean, I would hope. And by the way, they kind of have their Kyrie and Anthony Davis. That's a 1-2 for a title team.
Yeah, but I don't know if I trust either of those guys. We act like Kyrie has no injury history. He's 33. Anthony Davis is 31.
Yeah.
Luka's 26. Let's go to Fernando. He's in Dallas as well. Good morning, Fernando.
Hey, what's up, guys? Big news. Sad news, but not as crazy as some people are making it out to be, man. It's Luka. So this is the thing. Luka has missed more time in the last 3 seasons than Anthony Davis has. Yes, Anthony Davis is made out of glass. He was always hurt. But at the same time, you have a position of need. You needed another stretch, another big, somebody that could, provide the Twin Towers for you, provide some defense. We have Gaffer, we have Lively. I think one of those guys gets moved. Yep. They're going to go get somebody else, I believe. I don't think they're done. But Luka is not. He's not going to get you a championship. That's he doesn't play defense. It's hard. You're not gonna win a championship if somebody does this. Point blank.
Okay, but Fernando, and I understand, and I get it. Maybe this is kind of sinking in, and maybe there's a few more people who are fans of this trade than at first glance. Fernando, thank you for the call, Fernando. He's talking about how Luka's never going to win a title because he's not great on defense. There have been plenty of guys who have been able to be hidden on defense if you put the right team around him and have won titles. And the biggest one, the number one, without a doubt, is Steph Curry.
Name another one.
Kyrie.
Well, yeah, because that was a LeBron. I mean, name a number 1A who's been bad at defense.
Well, I just gave you Steph, EJ. That made you physically recoil.
Well, no, not even the Steph thing. To me, you think about Dallas. Remember, Dirk Nowitzki won a title for many years. They said that you could never win a title with a guy who doesn't defend.
Right.
And what did they do? They put him around a bunch of great defenders. He bought in. He's not a great defensive player, but he did enough, and then he was the number one on the team that won the title, beat LeBron and the Mavs and the Wade and the Heatles.
But yeah. Dirk had such length that he was just a factor on defense, where Luka is a different thing. I think. I mean, Dirk is 7 feet.
But
he's
not
just stand
shot
on the court. I'm just saying, at least I don't remember Dirk being a defensive sieve like Luka is considered.
Well, that was definitely the knock on him, and it was kind of like the continuation of European players not being as tenacious and ferocious on defense.
But Luka's a wing player. It's a much more pressure. Who is Dirk having to stop scorer-wise? Luka theoretically could match up against these great guys through the years. And he's done pretty well in the playoffs. So I just think that you have Curry, but there's the way the Warriors play, that's what he needs. That's what Luka needs. He needs to join the Warriors. Somebody who plays basketball the right way. Because I agree with that last caller. Luka, I don't think this Mavs team was on the brink of a title. I know they made the finals this year, but you saw that finals. Did that look like they had a prayer? No, of course not.
No, the Celtics ran him off the court. But here's the thing. You actually had, I'm not saying you had a full product there, but to give up on a guy at 26 when their biggest issue is defense in their body, I would think I can be able to change those two things. What do those two things reek of? Motivation, right? That's just finding the correct motivation. And a lot of guys don't even really get into their prime until they're 27 and 28. See the light, whatever it is. So it'd be one thing if it's like, I don't know if I want to give him $300 million because his shot is funky or can't be fixed or something.
Interesting.
I think you can fix body and you can fix motivation.
I would think
defense.
I think you can fix a shot. I think motivation and fire within, that's the one thing that can't be coached, or that is, and again, I'm going to go back to this. Like, Joel Embiid does not have it, and he's never going to get it.
Okay, but Joel Embiid's not Luka.
Why are you saying that? What's the difference?
Luka already got to a finals.
I mean, yes, he happened to get to a finals, but they're very, I don't know.
I know,
like,
I love
it
that they
similar.
tripped into it. It's
Yeah,
like they
he
woke
did.
up one day and found themselves playing the Celtics.
I mean, yeah, but has Luka gotten an MVP?
Well,
And also, Luka is Harden. They're so similar. Their numbers, their career numbers are so the same.
Yeah, but Harden maybe never. I don't know if he didn't. I don't want to say grow up. That sounds pejorative. I'm not trying to tell a grown man he's got to grow up. But you never know what can motivate somebody. You get a little older. You get a little bit more mature, and you start realizing what you got to do to keep your body in shape. Okay, 855-212-4227. Keep it coming. We're also asking you who's going to win a title first. Mavs, Lakers, neither. And who's going to ultimately win this trade? Andrew Bogusch is with us. Bogues, is there anything else that happened, or are we all just living in Luka's world?
No, it's basically Luka. It's all sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Calling all boobs. The Mavericks had a game to play last night, a few hours after the Dončić trade became official. This is how Mark Followill started their TV broadcast.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mark Followill. Devin Harris will join me in a minute. I'm sorry if I look a little haggard today, like a lot of you. I didn't sleep very well last night. We're stunned. We're shocked. We're going through it. You all know what I'm talking about. The end of one era, the beginning of another.
So he's ragged, but he's just a talker. How are the actual Mav players handling this?
Mitchell, crossover, 3-ball. Bang! A 50! A 50-piece here in the first quarter for the Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell with the 3-ball.
Tim Alcorn on Cavs Radio, and yes, a 50-19 thumping by Cleveland of Dallas in the opening 12 minutes last night. The Cavs had 91 first-half points en route to a 144-101 win over those Mavs, who, of course, have Luka in L.A., no Anthony Davis yet, and 5 regulars were out injured last night, including Kyrie. Only 10 players dressed for this beatdown. Head coach Jason Kidd is earning his paycheck.
We've been faced with a lot of injuries, so we've had a lot of conversations or meetings about next man up, and that's the situation as a coach I have to do.
And now we have another mega deal to process. The Spurs are getting De'Aaron Fox from Sacramento. The Kings end up with Zach LaVine and 3 first-round picks. The Bulls take back 3 players plus a 2025 first-rounder. Back on the floor last night, the Grizzlies 132-119 winners in Milwaukee without John Morant. He's dealing with a sore right shoulder. Jaren Jackson Jr. scored 37 on 7 threes. The Celtics were down 26 late third quarter, won in Philly 118-110. And the Raptors topped the Clippers 115-108. R.J. Barrett scored 20.
How about it?
The WNBA busy too, with the Sun reportedly signing Tina Charles. Connecticut used the first overall pick back in 2010 on her. She played her first 4 seasons there, winning the 2012 league MVP. And now Charles returns as the league's all-time leader in rebounds, second all-time in points. The Raiders are expected to make Chip Kelly their offensive coordinator, and Alabama reportedly hiring Ryan Grubb as OC, reuniting him with Kalen DeBoer. Grubb was his OC at Washington and Fresno State before spending this season running the Seahawks offense.
By the way, can we think of 2 people who are more diametrically opposite in their personalities than Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly? Pete Carroll could run for office and probably not even have to campaign that much and win in a landslide. Chip Kelly won't even make eye contact with people in the hallway, allegedly. These are just 2, maybe it's a sort of yin and yang, May, December kind of thing, and they get along, but...
Well, Chip is hysterically funny. Have you ever seen Chip be funny? He is one of the funniest people in the entire industry. But he, because he grew up in the same neighborhood as Adam Sandler. He's like a New England stoic weirdo. But he is a coordinator. Maybe he's not like that because he can be super charming. Guy coached Oregon forever.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's these rumors. Like Belichick was this really gregarious guy behind the scenes. Like, I'm gonna need some evidence.
Well, I mean, he was
that Chip Kelly's as funny as Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Chip Kelly, I got to tell you,
know.
Chip Kelly is a hidden comedic genius. I've heard him talk, but also he was a college recruiter. Like Chip Kelly, they were together in the Pac-12. Like he's fine.
Do you think Chip Kelly walks into a room and he's like, Shabadoo? Like, what do you think happened?
Chalamet.
Honestly, like I'll show you an old interview with Chip Kelly where he was doing routines. It is unbelievable. Like the guy is really funny. The problem is he just likes to hand off too much for the year 2025. He drives me crazy.
Well, the Raiders don't have a quarterback, so maybe this is a good thing.
And I mean, maybe they look at Ohio State and be like, wow, you have all this talent. You're running into the line every time. We could do that and keep games close. But Chip
just
Kelly
won a national title. Perloff's like, this guy.
I mean, people view Chip Kelly as a genius. I do not think this is going to work. This whole coaching staff, if the Raiders win, like I want to do some kind of show bet. Like this
win what?
I don't know. Like this Pete Carroll, Tom Brady, Chip Kelly. Like what is going on here? This is just a hodgepodge of stuff. I mean, it could work, but
who would be the funniest quarterback to put with them? I think the funniest guys have already been there, like Gardner Minshew, Jimmy G.
I mean, old Russ would be pretty entertaining.
Man,
oh yeah, some
stir
kind
that up in a pot. Wow.
Well, old Rodgers or old Russ or the.
Yeah, Rodgers would be peak. Just crazy.
Even though they know they can't do that. That's too much.
I don't know. It is Vegas. Like, is anything ever too much in Vegas? I don't know.
Well, there's one guy who is going to be on the block potentially, who's leaving his old team, old Jets quarterback Zach Wilson. How about you give him a shot?
He would get steamrolled in that room.
You asked for the funniest option. I think he would be one of them. Look out for the moms out there in Vegas.
Oh man, you're right.
The Detroit.
Hide your grandmothers. Zach Wilson's coming to town.
The Detroit Tigers are re-signing righty starter Jack Flaherty, 2 years, $35 million. He can opt out after making $25 million for the coming season. Rory McIlroy won at Pebble Beach yesterday, and on ice, the Stars dropped the Blue Jackets 5-3 for a 5-game win streak. The Islanders' 7-game run ending with a 6-3 loss at the Panthers. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thanks so much. Okay, we still have to talk about the LeBron James aspect of this wild blockbuster Luka Dončić for Anthony Davis trade that went down over the weekend. What does this mean for King James and his shot at another title? We'll get to that next. You can give us a call, 855-212-4227. It's Maggie and Perloff from Radio Row.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Have to imagine Dr. Dre's pretty excited about this. LA, everyone excited about Luka Dončić coming to the LA Lakers blockbuster trade. And we really haven't talked a lot about the LA side of this, Pearl, because the Mavs and them getting Anthony Davis and how they pulled this thing off where they only called the Lakers. That's it.
Well, how the Lakers pulled it off. They didn't pull off anything. They just accepted the.
No, that's what I'm saying. The Mavs. We've only been talking about the Mavs side of this,
Yeah.
and they only called the Lakers and how they pull this off. And now we should talk about the Lakers side because, as we mentioned before, their championship odds have skyrocketed, 40-1, now 18-1. And the fit with LeBron James is going to be very interesting. But put that aside for a second. Shams Charania, who broke this story and has got this thing on lock, especially with Woj now out of the insider business, he's got all the deets here. He said that LeBron James was blindsided by this. He had no idea that this was coming. Mm-hmm. I don't know how anyone can say that with a straight face. I do not believe it. I will never believe that. And I'm not saying that LeBron is shadow running the league, but I think he's shadow running the Lakers. And one of the reasons I know that is because his agent is Rich Paul, an agency that LeBron helped find. I mean, Rich Paul was selling jerseys out of the back of the trunk of his car. Legitimately, that's what he was doing until LeBron and he had a chance meeting at the Akron airport. And now he's like one of the power brokers in the NBA, okay? So this is LeBron's guy. And Anthony Davis is also one of his clients. So why Rich Paul would keep this from LeBron, to me, that just is beyond belief, Pearl. Like, I think LeBron, I don't know if he ordered the code red, but he was certainly fine with the code red.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't be fine with this trade, to be honest? I mean, do you think there's any? Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. But the only defense I will say was it's such a no-brainer for the Lakers that they didn't need to consult LeBron. Would you at least agree to that? Like, there's no way they were saying no to this.
Okay, well, then let's talk about fit now, right? And let's talk about fit because you have two guys who are pretty ball dominant. Luka, maybe one of the most of all time. And LeBron, I think, likes to bring the ball up the floor.
Really?
And especially in crunch time, fourth quarter, I think LeBron wants the ball in his hands and still does, even after all these seasons.
It's so funny. I don't think of LeBron like that because LeBron will share that duty all the time, right? Like, I don't. Does he? How often does he bring the ball up?
I feel like he brings up a lot still, even in his advanced age. And I think LeBron is always saying that he wants to have, like, even with Anthony Davis, it's a totally different situation to say, he's the guy. We got to funnel everything through him. But I think LeBron still, it's like, not in his nature, but I still think that he believes that he is the best guy to have the ball in his hands at all times or any time.
I feel like LeBron takes a lot of plays off. When I'm watching him, he hangs on the wings and let other guys go to work. And let's face it, what you're saying is, at a certain point, Father Time has to play a factor here, and he's going to want to share that duty. He's going to want somebody to take that load off his plate. And he's had other guys like Dwayne Wade and Kyrie Irving specifically. Like, he likes that guy.
Okay, but that was a long time ago, Pearl. Like, we're talking about now. I think he wanted Russell Westbrook. That never worked.
Well, like, who is similar, but he's like a bad Luka Dončić. Like, he wants that guy to share that load.
See, it's like one of those things, like, where you think you want that, right? So, like, you know how people do, like, dating profiles now? And it's like, here's what I think I want in a partner.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you really know yourself that well? Are you really do you really want 6'5" working in finance, or do you actually want someone who's going to be a cool creative type?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people understand what they really want. I think LeBron is one of those people.
Oh, I actually, this point I really disagree with you on. I think LeBron is not even playing that, like, full games. Like, LeBron knows he needs help.
Triple-double.
He knows he needs help.
Night.
He knows he needs help, and LeBron is not a guy who has trouble sharing the ball. Like, he likes to pass the ball. This could be good. The problems are not that. That's not the problem. The problem is defense, and the problem is the other guys around them are not very good.
Do you think this will be good for LeBron? 855-212-4227. And I'm sorry, I can't get to the LeBron was blindsided. You think so, EJ?
I do, because like, to Pearl's point, LeBron's kind of irrelevant in this conversation. Like, this deal was made for the future. Like, the Lakers currently constituted, they don't really fit as a roster. They have basically no big men. So to win this year, unless they make other moves, like, it's going to be very hard. So this is a move for 10 years from now, not for this year or next year. So to me, it's like, why would I even have to talk to LeBron about this? To be honest, AD's a much better running mate for LeBron than Luka Dončić. I agree. I think they're both kind of ball time. LeBron's 8th in usage in the NBA this year, so he's still using the ball. They're still using a lot of him at the focal point of the offense. I don't think they called him at all. I think they were like, if we call him, then what's going to happen? He may say, I don't want Luka here. I want AD. He's my running mate. He's my guy at Clutch Sports. He's my mentee. Like, I think there's a lot of reasons to actually keep him out of this.
Yeah, and also the idea that maybe they didn't want to put it on LeBron, where if a report came out that LeBron was consulted, then it's LeBron's move, and maybe they didn't want to do that to him.
Everyone's going to put it on LeBron anyway.
Oh, I have not seen that. Everyone's not like LeBron made this move.
No, they're not saying that he made the move, but they're going to put it on. Let's say this, right? Say Luka goes to is with the Lakers now and still can't get in shape and still can't get motivated. Right. Aren't they going to say, well, we thought LeBron was going to rub off on him? You've already said it. LeBron spends $1 million on his body. Luka needs to know that. Like, I think LeBron will get criticized no matter what happens. If this doesn't work, LeBron will catch shrapnel.
But remember that narrative a few years ago, LeBron literally was the GM of the Lakers and making all these moves. I don't think...
Yeah, now his agent is.
But now I don't think anyone thinks it. I don't think anyone thinks LeBron or Rich Paul or anybody made this move. I think they think the Mavs made this move. This, like... It keeps LeBron, like,
hands
plausible
clean.
deniability. Yeah, I think that's a big deal. And also, I do think that Rich or somebody's like, listen, they can't have LeBron trading AD. Like, AD, like, those guys have a relationship. That would not be good.
Okay, well, here's the thing. AD also had to waive a trade kicker
so
of
he
$6 million. And so he obviously knew, and he was more than willing to waive that trade kicker to keep the Dallas Mavericks under the second apron or first apron, under the luxury tax. Let's say save them money. And so it seemed like he was more than willing to pack his bags and go.
But he might have a better chance to win a title here for him in Dallas. So, like, I get his motivation as well.
Again, we are asking you, who is more likely to win a title first? Is it the Mavericks or is it the Lakers? Quickly, Sean's our pal in Oregon. Sean, left you about 20 seconds, kid. Go ahead.
Hey, I love this. And it's going to be the Lakers, you guys. And I think what you guys are saying is right. You know, they didn't want a lot of leaks going out, and they didn't want to make it look like LeBron's pulling the trigger. And this is a total LeBron thing to do. And LeBron loves surprises. Nobody saw AD going to the Lakers. Nobody saw AD leaving. And that's what's going on. I mean, this is a total LeBron thing to do, you guys. You know it.
Yeah, this is why, Sean, thanks for the call as always. This is why I have a hard time believing that LeBron was totally in the dark on this. Because LeBron is the current face of the franchise and the first or second best player in NBA history, however you want to look at it. Mm-hmm. You can't keep him in the dark on this stuff. And his agent is the one who helped orchestrate this. Had to, because he's AD's agent.
Listen, he might be the greatest ever. You don't need to consult him. When that call comes in, you say yes.
Who's going to be first to win a title? The Mavs or the Lakers coming up? Who's got more pressure heading into this Super Bowl? We'll tell you.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
New Orleans Radio Row, already one po' boy in. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Pants still fitting, though. Barely. Okay, so we have a lot to unpack with all the basketball stuff, but let's turn to football for a second, Pearl, and we'll get back to the Luka Dončić, Anthony Davis trade in just a little bit, because teams arrived yesterday. You can see them coming off the plane. We actually are staying really close to the Eagles hotel, which I know is exciting for our diehard Eagle fan here, Mr. Perloff. But if I was asking you, who would you rather be going into this game? Would you rather be the Chiefs, who are going for a three-peat, going for immortality, a chance to maybe be known as the greatest dynasty of all time? I mean, all the spoils that go with pulling off something that's never been done in the Super Bowl era. Would you rather be them, or would you rather be the Eagles, who come in maybe with a little less pressure if that's possible, but you still have to try to stop Patrick Mahomes, and very few people have ever been able to do that?
Well, so wait, define your question. Would you rather be like who has more pressure, or who's got a better chance to make history? Because it's obviously the Chiefs have a better chance to make history. And honestly, you might say the Chiefs have a lot of pressure to three-peat, but this is business as usual to the Chiefs. Like, you don't get the sense that they are affected at all by any of this. Mahomes seems oblivious. Kelsey doesn't
like in a good way, you mean?
Yeah, like to the pressure.
Right.
Kelsey doesn't seem to feel pressure at all. All their players, I get a sense that there's a been there, done that vibe about them, that the moment does not seem too big for them at all. Where the Eagles are a different team than the team was here 2 years ago, and they haven't gotten their ring yet. In a sense, like, there's pressure to finally break through if you're this Eagles team, where the Chiefs, I think, are very comfortable in their own skin. I always get that vibe from the Chiefs.
Okay, so I'm going to disagree a little. And let's not forget, your Eagles have that win from 2017, but not a lot of holdovers are left from that one. You're correct about that. Totally different coaching staff, different quarterbacks, everything. But here's the thing. It's like the Eagles have a chance not only to win the Super Bowl, obviously, but they could also be the team that stopped the three-peat. So they come in as the underdog slightly, with way less pressure, I think, than the Chiefs. Even if the Chiefs, on the outside look like they're immune to this pressure, let's just wait. Let's wait, because this is a unique pressure that they've never felt before, which is going for something historic. And I think the Eagles win double-fold here if it's like, I don't know how much we'd remember this Eagles team in history. Like, they might feel a little like a one-off Super Bowl team, but they get to avenge the loss to the Chiefs, and they get to stop history. I feel like Philadelphia fans, I know this just like sitting next to you, would almost rather stop history of the Chiefs, like stop the Chiefs from making history, than they'll even just be happy for themselves that they won a title. Like, there's this sort of just like taking down the Chiefs would mean more or just as much as winning it themselves. I feel like Philly sometimes, and a lot of fan bases, I think, do this. It's about yourself, but it's really about the other team too. It's about beating Tom Brady. It's about beating the other person.
I can't go there with you. If you're looking at rivalries, the heat between the Chiefs and the Eagles is as lowest as humanly possible. I mean, the two teams are sort of because of Andy Reid, like there's so much commonality there. The Eagles hate the Cowboys with a passion. If it was the Cowboys, oh my God, beating the Cowboys would be 50 times better than actually winning.
But the
Chiefs,
Cowboys, they're dead already. They're done.
But the Eagles fans don't care about the Chiefs. They have no vested interest. They don't even think about the Chiefs. Like
they just beat you.
Yeah, but there's no rivalry there. I mean, they got Big Red. They got they have Patrick Mahomes. It's not like it's hard for Eagles fans to chew on hating the Chiefs. Like,
okay.
I've never heard it. Eagles fans are in their own thing. They hate the Cowboys, they hate the Giants, but they don't really hate the Chiefs.
Okay, well, I'll ask you this. Lose to the Chiefs twice in a Super Bowl, and let's say it's another close one. Last time it was only a 3-point loss and maybe a controversial call, or maybe the Chiefs get a call or something. You're telling me Eagles fans aren't going to be bitter about that?
I don't think so. Like, here's a question, right? The Celtics and the Lakers played 3 times in the finals. That was it. That was the whole rivalry in the 80s with the Magic Bird, and that became enough. It's so funny. I do not see, like, the Bills and the Chiefs. That's a great rivalry. The Ravens and the Steelers, the Ravens and the Chiefs. I do not see. We just lost our producer.
EJ, you all right, pal?
Yeah.
Nothing's going right for EJ right now. Okay. You can call in. Who would you rather be in this game? Would you rather be the Chiefs or the Eagles? EJ's on an all-time, whatever the opposite of a hot streak is, you're on an all-time skid. I don't even know what to call is. Bobby's coming to drop us off some coffee. Thank you, sir. EJ, this is just L after L. Like, we're all having a good time in New Orleans, and it's like you found the one pothole and fell in it.
Yeah, I feel like in many ways the whatever voodoo situation is going on. Like we walked into Vegas, to New Orleans. It's hit. Like I'm here.
But just you, thankfully.
It's only me.
Not
yeah,
us.
everyone else of the show is fine. I mean, we're getting through the show. Like there's been some show things adjacent to this, but yeah, it's been a mess. But iPad's still working.
Okay.
So everything's good. And
Barely.
we're still live, so we're good. So.
Protect the knee.
Yeah, there's that too.
Can I go back 1 second? Why do you think the Eagles, like, why wouldn't they be a potential dynasty? If they win this Super Bowl, all their linemen are young on both sides. Like, it's so funny. Like, and I kind of know what you're saying. Like, this does feel like a one-off to them. Like,
I think it's because
I've been part of a bigger project for the Eagles.
Well, I think it's because I'm sitting next to you, and you're so passionate about the Eagles, and you keep telling me how they're running Saquon Barkley into the ground, and that the year after a 2,000-yard rushing year is generally one of the worst years in a guy's career. So I think you're kind of rubbing off on me like osmosis or something.
But they've gotten here with Jalen Hurts, and here's where I'm going to knock you off your chair.
Okay.
They might have one of the better coaches in the NFL.
Oh, get out of here.
No
way.
They have the winningest. I mean, if he wins the Super Bowl, he is the second best record of any active coach. Like, you might have to look at and it's really in part because he works with Howie Roseman. The Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni thing, that might be a thing. Like, that might be the beginning of something. If they come out of this, like, maybe we're looking at more of a special Eagles team than you know.
No. Okay.
If they win this game and knock off the big bad Chiefs, as you said, I think it's going to be a totally different ball game.
They still won't. Here's the question we're asking. Who would you rather be heading into this game? Would you rather be the Chiefs with, yes, a lot of pressure, but going for history, or would you rather be the Eagles, less pressure in theory, and you have a chance to take down the Chiefs? So do you want to be the winner, or do you want to be the guy who takes down the dynasty? 855-212-4227. The reason why that's not going to happen is Nick Sirianni will likely be the last person to get credit if you do win the Super Bowl, and here's why. You're right, Howie Roseman, great GM, put together all-stars at all these positions, Pro Bowlers, I should say. You never know how they fit all these guys under the salary cap. He's some kind of wizard. We have, the Saints are in salary cap hell, yet the Eagles have 50 times the talent. We can't figure any of this out. They paid their quarterback too, so it's not like they have a guy at a cheap deal. I think you could go 10 deep before Sirianni gets credit, because his coordinators, I think, got more credit for the last time they were in the Super Bowl, and the coordinators will get credit again. It will be Vic Fangio solved Mahomes.
Yeah, maybe.
It'll be Kellen Moore now goes off to wherever, the Saints, and he leaves on a high note. Sirianni is just there keeping the seat warm.
You're talking about perception, though.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is he's going to, if he wins the Super Bowl, he's have this gaudy, like, he might be the key to the whole thing. Like, who cares about
What's
perception?
your evidence for that?
Well, he's won over 70% of his regular season games, made the playoffs every year as a coach, and he will have just beaten the best team of the modern era. So he's like Sean McVay, but better. Like, if he wins a Super Bowl, he is on track. I think he's 42 years old or something. He's so young. He's on track for a crazy career, especially with the way him and Howie work together. Like, it's possible. He's 43. It's possible this is the beginning of a dynasty. Now, I don't really think so either. But I would discount that. So there's that. My point is there is pressure on the Eagles. It's not like the Eagles are just like, well, we're happy to be here. Like, they do have a big year. That's not
Who's losing their job, though? See, like, he's not losing his job
the
if
Super
they
Bowl.
lose.
A losing team of the Super Bowl never loses their job.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. It's like, so what's the pressure, right? Who's like, is it A.J. Brown? He might want to leave anyway. I mean, the guy's reading a book on the sidelines. Like, he might not be as engaged. You're not sure if he wants to go. But beyond that, like, what's the pressure? They're all basically coming back.
All the cameras, all the people, 150 million. That's the pressure. It's not it's not pressure like the Super Bowl. It's not like you think, oh, if I lose this game, I'm not going to be re-signed. The pressure is the game, not because of like your future. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're saying like there's Super Bowls where if the quarterback doesn't win, he's going to get cut. That's not a thing.
No, it's not about getting cut, but it's about, there could be major changes to this team. If we don't win this now, we might not get another crack at it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not what this feels like at all. To your point, you said that everyone's
Right.
young. They could be coming back. Lane Johnson said he's not retiring. You have all the pieces. I don't see them having this crazy kind of pressure. You said it yourself. It's not really a rivalry, even, you don't think, between the Chiefs and the Eagles.
But there could be 3 minutes left in the game. They could be up by a touchdown. That is pressure. I feel like they will feel that.
They should. Okay, 855-212-4227. You can let us know what you think about this. Who's feeling more pressure? Is it the Chiefs going for history in the three-peat? Is it the Eagles? Or who would you rather be? Not who's facing more pressure. Who would you rather be in this game? Would you rather be the Chiefs going for history, or would you rather be the Eagles who get a chance to maybe stop history? The big news, the big trade. De'Aaron Fox going to San Antonio. No, Luka Dončić. We will get into that. But Luka Dončić going to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. Let's hit Jeff. He's on the phone. He's calling from Tucson. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Molly. What's going on, Perloff?
Close.
So here we got most of the pressure's on Perloff because he's going to lose his mind if there's like a PI at the end of the game that results in the winning score.
Oh, don't even say, Jeff, don't put that in the universe.
Well, I got to put that up in the air, man. Yeah. So the second thing is that Kansas City, I'd rather be Kansas City in this, and they don't feel any pressure to win 3 straight. It's just that, they're just going for history. But like you said, there's no Philly rivalry here. And secondly, let's go with the Dončić trade. Like the news reporter says, they kept it a secret. They only decided to let L.A. know that we wanted to make a package. And they'd have got more. They'd have expanded themselves. So I think Dallas was a loser in this trade, really big time.
Jeff, thank you for the call. 100%. They didn't think to make one other phone call. I mean, you don't want to take the temperature. We were talking during the break, and EJ had mentioned it, about why not call the Milwaukee Bucks and check in on Giannis.
We're 1,000% sure that no moves, no discussions were had because
Nico Harrison said. They said he had got coffee with Rob Pelinka, the Lakers GM, a couple weeks ago, and that started morphing into conversations, and then he credited Pelinka for not leaking the news.
I wonder, now let's be realistic. Do you think the Bucks would have done that?
So here's the thing with the Bucks.
Yeah.
I think that they would consult Giannis, and Giannis, every couple years or every offseason kind of, Giannis likes to send some coded messages through the media. Listen, I don't know what my future holds. I just want to be on a winner. I want to be a team committed to winning. He's sending these cues to Milwaukee. Hey, you better get me this guy, that guy. They got him Dame Lillard. So we'll see what happens. But no, I think Giannis is always looking around.
Yeah, I just can't buy that the Mavs got Anthony Davis and they could have had Giannis, in the sense that, like, there's a lot. That's a big assumption. Or they could have had Jason Tatum. Like, I've seen, like, I'm not sure exactly what was up for grabs here. Like, you can't just say, oh, they could have had Giannis. I mean, that's too much of a stretch.
Okay, but you're asking, like, you don't know. I don't think anyone thought
that
Luka was available, right?
No.
So let's hear, Manny, can I hear cut 4, please? Here's Nico Harrison again. Maybe a guy who's a little more anonymous 48 hours ago, but now he's right in the front of the camera on the discussion he had with Lakers GM Rob Pelinka.
And I'd like to give Rob Pelinka a lot of credit. You know, trades, you guys have been around here, trades don't happen at the smallest level without stuff getting out. And Rob and I were able to have, you know, really intense conversations over the course of, you know, 3 or 4 weeks that started out as a coffee that, you know, was more, hey, would you ever, I don't know, would I? Let me think of, you know, and then it built upon that.
Yeah, I mean, this would be so easy to disprove. Like, Nico Harrison looked like such a liar if in 2 days the GM of the Bucks is like, no, we also talked. Like, he wouldn't say this unless it's true. He really didn't call anyone else.
Is there any other way to? Well, also, I just don't think the Giannis deal was happening. Do you think that?
Whether it was Giannis, whether it's Brunson, whether it's Tatum, whether we're swimming in really deep water here is what I'm saying. And so the fact that if you think you can get somebody and they're so enamored with Anthony Davis,
right.
You know you have like this incredible trade bait. Like you just wouldn't want to see what else is out there.
You would, and also you'd want more draft picks. But I'm not sure that there's for the Mavs, except for the age. Like there's only a few players like Anthony Davis. So it's not like, you know, Jalen Brunson, for example. Like that's not going to win a title.
Okay, but I'm asking you. Do we think that Anthony Davis, who, to his credit, when he's healthy, he's awesome. He's a complete difference maker.
Right.
Do we think Anthony Davis is closer to his prime or closer to past his prime?
Definitely closer to past his prime, although his prime was gutted by injuries, so it's hard to tell.
Okay, so what do we think past his prime is going to look like?
Well, I mean, he's 31, so give him 4 more years of productive basketball. 60 games a year, 25 points a game, 10 boards, whatever, blocks.
All right, are you sure you're getting 60? Because I'm watching last year he played 76 games, and that was fantastic. That's a high watermark. 56, 40, 36, 62, 56. Like, it was a stretch there where you'd be lucky if you were getting 60. That wasn't happening.
Right.
You're getting 40.
Maybe he's turned a corner.
But maybe Luka's turned a corner. Like, that's the it's such you're
Luka,
putting a bet on someone who's 31 years old who's 7'2".
Yeah. No, I don't love it, but I don't think – I just reject this idea that Luka, they could have just said, hey, Luka's up for sale. Give me your superstar. I mean, how many superstars are really, realistically, maybe 2 or 3? I can't even come up with names. Right. I don't think, for some reason, I just don't think Giannis was going to happen. I don't think the Bucks were going to do it, believe it or not. Well, I mean, they probably hold on this fantasy that we're keeping Giannis. And also, I'm not sure.
But Giannis may have said, all right, I want to go. I mean.
And Luka is not going to want to stay in Milwaukee. That was the other thing, too, because they got to re-sign Luka.
Yeah, but I don't think Luka had a no-trade clause. So,
right, but Luka's up for negotiation when, next year?
Yeah, so Luka could have had a shot at the Supermax after this season, but now that's off the table. So now he has this year, next year, and then a player option. So he's got to play one more full season before he can get the Supermax, which is $345 million. But it's a bummer for Luka. If you thought that money was coming this offseason, then now it waits a year, and who knows what could happen. You could have, a terrible injury or something devastating. You never know.
The issue is the age. I mean, that's the bottom line. If Anthony Davis was 25 and Luka was 25, everybody'd be like, okay, Luka's a better player, but at least I get it. It's the age. I understand. You're exactly right. That's why this deal is bananas in most people's mind.
Well, it's not just the age to me. It's the insinuation that they didn't trust Luka to be in shape, healthy, committed, when Anthony Davis is someone whose nickname is Street Clothes. Like, that's where I can't get it's like.
But he's in shape.
He's in shape, that's fine, but he's hurt.
But you just read a bunch of number of games that was trending upward. Maybe he's turning the corner.
Okay.
I'm knocking on.
He's literally hurt right now. 855-212-4227. Man, you want to go to Connor? Is Connor still there? Connor's in Ohio. What's up, Connor?
Can you guys hear me all right?
We can, sir. Go ahead.
Perfect. How you guys doing this morning?
We're doing great. We're in New Orleans. We're living.
I know. It sounds awesome. And I'm in Ohio where my Buckeyes got the natty, so that's awesome.
Man, can you believe that was only 2 weeks ago?
I know, right?
It feels like a month ago.
Time flies. Feels like a month ago.
Totally.
I know, right? So my thoughts on the big trade. I think the best chance for the title will probably have to go to the Lakers. Honestly, this is a pretty lopsided trade.
Yeah.
I sure as heck don't buy that LeBron knew nothing about it. He definitely knew something about it. He pretty much runs the Lakers as is. So there's no way he doesn't know about it. That's not even no way. And then as far as like the trade itself goes, very lopsided. At this point in the long run, if you look at the overall picture, Luka Dončić is a better player. He's younger. He has supposedly a few seasons to go, quite a few. But AD, I feel like, is a much older, more vulnerable player, especially since of his height. So I feel like he has, obviously, a tendency to be injured. So I feel like overall, Luka Dončić is a more valuable player, and the Lakers will benefit off of him more in the long run.
Connor, thanks for the call. Appreciate you checking in. Right now we have a poll up at Maggie and Perloff. Who is more likely to win a title first? And the Lakers it's a landslide, 75% to 25%. And what's a bummer about that poll for the Mavs is that the Mavs said this was a win-now move. And yet nobody believes that it actually will work.
That result is 75-25. But if you put up the poll, who got the better end of the trade, it would probably be 95% Lakers. So I do think even pro-Lakers people are saying, well, I understand the Mavs have this slight window with a Kyrie, Anthony Davis. Like, I think in the short term, you could squint and see this helping the Mavs. The question is the long term. Over 10 years, what the heck's going on? Like, the big picture, the Lakers are massive winners. Will you agree with me that they're bigger winners big picture than they are short term? Because I don't think anyone knows if Luka, LeBron is good enough to get to the finals.
No, but that was the whole thing about the Lakers are getting a star now to be the franchise focal piece for long beyond. Like, they've got the succession plan now.
Right.
The Mavs didn't want that. Well, they didn't want the star. They don't want the guy.
I don't think they want to build around Kyrie just like most Sixers fans now
Luka?
don't. I mean, right. They didn't want to build around Luka just like Sixers fans don't want to build around Embiid anymore. How Rockets fans didn't want to build around Harden anymore. I
don't think that's how Mavs fans are feeling, though.
No, but I think the Mavs ownership is like, ooh, they're not feeling that way. In 3 years, they're going to get there. Because Luka's 26. At 26, the Rockets were positive James Harden was going to lead them to a title. They had every reason to think that.
Sure.
But then they said, oh, okay, this guy's not getting in shape, and he's too ball dominant. I just think that the Mavs saw that coming, and they said it. They're like, you can't win with one guy who doesn't play defense. He also doesn't play team basketball.
I mean, for the Mavs not to look completely silly here, Luka's got to just really be a zero.
Well, I don't
not even make it to the finals because they are going to look so silly.
Well, how are the Lakers going to make it to the finals?
I don't know. I guess that's what the Mavs are betting on. They're betting on the fact that Luka's going to go there and he's not going to be able to do anything. They have to hope and pray that happens, or else they are going to look like they are executed one of the worst trades of all time.
I think the Mavs from that
And by
side,
the way, the process will still, we can always nitpick the process.
But here's the thing. If they don't get one with LeBron right now, that's like the Lakers. What happens after LeBron leaves? Like this, then Luka's on a worse team than he was in Dallas. So maybe they're like, well, he couldn't quite get us over the final hump in Dallas. He's going to have a worse team in L.A. Right? Like, they're not as scared of him. Like, why would they even be as good as the Mavs?
What's the Mavs plan? Like,
well, I mean, at least they had Kyrie and all these guys.
Kyrie's 33.
But I'm just saying, like, Luka in L.A. is like, who does he have after LeBron?
They're going to have
Jared Vanderbilt?
No, they're going to have to build a team around him.
Yeah, but which is because it's not going to be easy.
I get that, but what are the Mavs left with?
The Mavs probably have 3 or 4 years of this Kyrie AD combo.
They're going to end up giving probably close to a max contract to Kyrie. So think about that.
That's happening.
And you're asking, like, what's your best use of money? Give it to someone who's 33 years old or someone who's 26 years old?
Well, Kyrie's 32 now. And, yeah, I mean, this is the NBA. They're paying guys into their late 30s. I'm just saying you'll get 3 or 4 years of this. I don't say it's going to work, but at least it's a thing. Where, I don't know, like, honestly, if LeBron retired next year, then are the Lakers a playoff team? Probably not.
I don't know, 855-212-4227. Okay, keep them coming. Your reaction to this massive trade. We're also live from Radio Row in New Orleans. We've got plenty of awesome guests happening this week. We're doing some fun stuff this week. We have a lot for you, and our trip is already off to a really eventful start. So we'll get you in on some of the details. We'll do that next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. So much going on. I watched the Grammys last night. I have about 45-minute review that I will give you in the breaks and not
Wait a
subject
minute. Yeah, don't subject the audience to that. What's your biggest opinion?
Oh, well, I mean, listen, Beyonce sweeping the Grammys with her country album, I saw it coming. Like halfway through, when she won the first award, I'm like, oh, they're just giving everything to her. I kind of saw Andrew Bogusch's favorite, Chapel Roan. Well, all the great new artists, like there's some big new artists. I had Sabrina Carpenter in that category and Shabuzi, like big stars. But it was Chapel Roan and Beyonce's night, as it should be. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I don't really have a story. Do you have an opinion on the Grammys?
I didn't watch it. No, but I'm not surprised that Beyonce won a lot, and Chapel Roan kind of feels like they're kind of the two big people from this year.
I also saw
Taylor. I don't know.
The Rolling Stones won Album of the Year. Like what?
What?
No,
And
the Beatles. The Beatles.
The Beatles, but the Stones won something too. Check it out, Bogusch. The Stones won. It said they had a new album.
Wait a minute. Hold on. The Beatles won Album of the Year
There's
when
an-
two of their members have been deceased for
There's an
decades?
AI Beatles production that won something last night.
Yeah.
That was
That's not cool.
It wasn't album of the year though. That was Beyonce.
It might be rock album or something like a subcategory, but fake Beatles won, which kind of freaked me out.
Wait a minute. This isn't just like the lost tapes or like they unearthed something. This is just a straight up artificial intelligence created a Beatles album and it won an award.
I want to say that it at least began with like archival recordings, but yes, they're like it was AI finished.
Look at the best rock album. It's the Rolling Stones for an album called Hackney Diamonds. which is
something that if you go to a Rolling Stone show, you hope they play 0 tracks off of.
Well, it's a live album. It's not even original music, and they won Rock Album of the Year. Yeah, I was actually watching the Grammys. I'm like, this is a certain kind of. This felt like a record commercial. Like felt like it was run by Big Record.
You just learned this? What do you think? This was the Indie Awards?
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God.
The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Beyonce won. These are not all up and comers here.
Who runs the Oscars, by the way? Big movie, big Hollywood?
But you know who was nominated? That band that your husband follows around.
Yeah.
Crewbaggin' or whatever?
My husband follows around.
What are they
He's
called?
in a van right now somewhere near
Your husband's
Des Moines.
His version of Dave Matthews Band. What are they called? Crewbahoogan or something?
Chumbawamba?
Yeah.
It's Chumbawamba, guys. He's in Australia right now. It's called Krugenbin, I think.
Trevor Noah couldn't say it either.
I can't say it. No one knows it. I wish their name was just like Violet Flowers or something that would be a lot easier, but they name themselves Krugenbin. They're from Houston. They're really good.
They played live. They were great.
They're excellent, but now it's like they're over. You know, we were supposed to go to their show. I don't think my husband and I have attended a concert together since 2002. And we were supposed to go to their show, and our kid got sick, so you can't go.
Oh,
There you
man.
go.
I got kind of screwed over on the concert front. You know how the one concert I go to now is the Governor's Ball in New York, which is
Take your daughter.
Olivia, my favorite act, Olivia Rodrigo, is
yeah.
playing Saturday night, and my wife took those tickets, so I can't get to see her. Where was she last night, Bogusch? You know these things.
She was there last night. She presented Chapel Roan's performance.
Oh, that was okay. Actually, I didn't even recognize her.
Guys, we're beating around the bush here on this whole thing. Let's just call this what it is. Whatever Kanye West's wife was wearing on the red carpet, Kanye showed up uninvited to the Grammys with his wife, Bianca something. Apologies, I don't know her name. And she took off her coat. And Bogusch, you're the newsman around here. How would you describe
You
that
are
outfit?
breaking this news to me. I don't know what you're talking
Sure.
about.
Oh, no, Bogey.
100. I have a hand to the Scouts honor, whatever the signal is. I don't know what you're talking about. I can give you Will Smith's kid with a house on his head, but I don't know about Kanye West's wife.
Can I ask a question? Was that the boob outfit? Because I saw that on Twitter and scrolled immediately away. I'm like, I can't have this in my algorithm. Is that the one you're talking about?
If it was just the boobs, I think that'd be one thing.
She was like
the
naked.
whole thing.
But it was like kind of
all boobs.
It was the front. It was the back. It was the side. It was the top, down, left, right.
Well, I just saw
She was just naked.
It came across my social media feed, and I immediately scrolled away. I'm like, whatever that is, it can't be. That
Like,
was from
likely story.
That was from the red carpet.
We're not going to call you out, Pearl. You can do whatever you want.
No,
we passed the phone around at dinner last night with a lot of our friends here from Westwood One, who are fantastic and are the reason we're on the air today. We love them. And EJ and I and Zach Gelb. And we passed the phone around. I think I watched it 10 times.
Deeper.
Was there even a dress there?
I think
wasn't sure if it was
It was
just
just all
skin.
see-through.
Yeah.
It was
like
some
a
kind of,
mesh.
it was like see-through cloth.
And
I
again,
see
and
it now. It
apparently
is fabric.
They got
Yeah,
escorted
don't do that
out.
on the work computer, Bogusch.
Too late.
Oh, no.
Oh, gosh.
Bogusch is side texting us now. There's an artist named Dončić.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. She stole the night. I was like, I don't know who you are, but you are incredible.
Same thing. New to me because I am so not
Sorry.
cool. But that
I'm not cool
performance
at
was
all.
unbelievable. They were
That
all
was-
dressed the same. The dance and the choreography, that thing blew my mind.
She blew away everybody that night,
Listen.
except apparently for Kanye's wife.
I was going to say, there's going to be, this Grammys is going to be remembered for one thing and one thing, well, technically two things, but it is going to be remembered for that. Certainly not anything
Well,
else.
it's not like inside the building they were leaving a lot to imagination, by the way. Every woman was half naked.
I know.
I
Blame the
sound like 100
patriarchy.
years old.
Bogusch, you have headlines for us. What's up?
Guys, not everyone was lucky enough to wake up yesterday to EJ and Manny sexting the group about the Luka trade. We processed the shock as a group, but how did the Mavs handle it? Here's Jason Kidd.
We met this morning as a group, and so we talked about it. We opened the floor for if anybody had any questions. No one really had any questions.
Oh, good. No questions.
No questions. Let's move on. Get our ass beat tonight.
Yeah, because air quotes, they played against Cleveland shortly thereafter.
Here's Garland, left of the lane. BG out front, Mitchell, 3-ball, good! Well, we're at 91. A 91-point first half.
Tim Alcorn on Cavs radio. Cleveland led Dallas 91-46 at halftime. They won 144-101. The Mavs did have just 10 available players with 5 regulars out injured, including Kyrie and Anthony Davis not ready yet to join them. The Grizzlies beat the Bucks for the 7th straight time, 132-119 in Milwaukee, and the Celtics were 118-110 winners in Philly after trailing by 26 late third quarter. Jason Tatum scored 13 of his 35 in the fourth. And now another huge deal. De'Aaron Fox on his way to join Wemby in San Antonio. I can drive with him to that. The Kings get Zach LaVine from the Bulls, plus 3 first-round picks and 3 seconds, and Chicago ends up with 3 players and a 2025 number 1.
When bust Jama?
Yeah, this is back on, by the way. Now that Greg Popovich is healthy and thankfully healthy, we can resume planning for the road trip.
I'm psyched. I get to see De'Aaron Fox
I
now,
know.
too. This is awesome.
The team just got a whole lot better. And, man, is De'Aaron Fox a big winner? If he gets to team up with Wemby now for the future, that's pretty amazing.
But he's got a contract coming up. We'll see. I think this is a bit of a tryout for him.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I think you're right. I think everybody's going to want to play with Wemby.
Well, no doubt.
In a stunning move, Iowa basketball retired Caitlin Clark's number 22 yesterday.
First of all, my teammates, I wouldn't be here without any of you. And a lot of you came back and, you have busy schedules. And I think that just speaks to the culture of this place, so selfless. Like, I know my number's up there, but it wouldn't be if it wasn't for all of you. So to the ones that were my teammates when I was here, I really appreciate you guys and I love you.
The ceremony came after the unranked Hawkeyes took down 4th-ranked USC 76-69. The Trojans had won 15 in a row. Notre Dame and Louisville, meanwhile, just played a game, no ceremonies. The 3rd-ranked Irish with their 14th straight win, 88-71. Hannah Hidalgo, a season-high 34 points, plus 6 rebounds and 5 assists. The last time we saw Chip Kelly in the NFL, he was the Niners head coach in 2016, and they were going 2-14. Now Chip is returning to the league, reportedly to run the Raiders offense for Pete Carroll. NASCAR held its annual exhibition race yesterday at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem. First time they've run a race there since 1971. Chase Elliott won the Clash. The Daytona 500 is on the 16th. And Rory McIlroy won the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, while Lim Kim took the LPGA opener in Orlando by 2 shots over Nelly Korda. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thanks so much. Big winner for me on Prize Picks. Rory McIlroy doing well in Pebble Beach. I started riding that on Thursday and all the way through the tournament. Awesome.
One thing I forgot to mention that gives the Mavs an advantage, I did forget about the 2 coaches. I have so much more faith in Jason Kidd than J.J. Redick. You forgot about that. J.J. Redick's your coach, and that is a huge unknown.
Well, J.J. Redick's only been there for half a season. I mean, Jason Kidd was an assistant on the Lakers championship team.
I've heard the podcast. I've heard the podcast. I know enough.
You didn't listen to that podcast.
I heard the old one, the old man of the three. With Tommy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I just think that Jason Kidd, I could see him not jiving with Luka's style overall because Jason Kidd was all about defense and tenacity and moving the ball.
But they got to the finals together, by the way. And that press conference yesterday with Nico Harrison, the GM, and Jason Kidd is sitting there. Jason Kidd, he said they didn't even ask him about it. Like, that I believe. Nico Harrison said he didn't even inform Jason Kidd that they were trading their best player because, and the quote was, "We see basketball the same way." I'm like,
I could see Jason Kidd not loving Luka. That definitely crossed my mind.
Okay, but here's the thing. You don't have to love everyone you coach, but do you feel like you can win with them? And maybe you're right. Maybe Jason Kidd doesn't think so. But if I'm Jason Kidd, I'm probably getting fired in 2 years if all of a sudden I don't win a championship. If Luka had signed the Supermax, I don't think I am getting fired in 2 years.
But apparently him and Luka are not tied at the hip because they just let Luka go. That doesn't mean tied at the hip to me.
I'd be worried if I was everyone at the Mavs because you have a new owner that you don't know much about, right? This is Dumont, is the Adelson's son-in-law, these people who own casinos. They just were responsible for one of the most shocking blockbuster trades of all time, and they're getting clowned for it. I mean, the wave of criticism that they are getting from people who inside the sport, outside the sport, that has got to be a wake-up call that I don't know if maybe they were expecting. I don't know how super rich people deal with that kind of criticism. I don't think they get it in their regular life. So just wait and see how everyone's on the hot seat very soon would be my opinion.
Well, Nico will call him and say, this is better than losing Luka for nothing.
Yeah, but Luka never gave you an indication he was going to leave. So that you kind of invented a problem that didn't exist.
That's a stretch to say that you know that.
No one's turned down the Supermax. And they're the team that can give him that Supermax. So, I don't know. 855-212-4227. Got a poll question out there. Who do you think will win a title first, the Lakers and the Mavs? You can go vote on that poll or give us a call, 855-212-4227. We got so much left to do. It's Maggie and Perloff. We're live from New Orleans on Radio Row. Come on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Andrew Perloff, live from New Orleans, Radio Row, making friends around here, which is always a good thing. Officer Michael here, hanging out with us, keeping us safe. So we got 2 questions right now. Number 1, who do you think will win a title first? Luka Dončić and the Lakers, or now Anthony Davis and the Mavericks? You can go to @Maggie and Pearl and vote there. Also, another question, which is, who would you rather be in this Super Bowl? Would you rather be the Chiefs with, let's be honest, lots of pressure, making history, possibly with a three-peat, or would you rather be the Eagles, a little more house money, maybe get a chance to take down the Chiefs? And certainly public sentiment is not really with the Chiefs right now. I think everyone's just getting a little bit sick of them. And you can call us at 855-212-4227. But Perloff, I know a story that we unfortunately never got to last week, but it was a big one. It was about Cam Newton, who I'm assuming is going to be here on Radio Row any minute.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure where he's doing his podcast. He has a podcast, right? And now I think he's on ESPN. So he's a big media figure. He came out and said, and EJ was on top of the story, that he'd rather be an MVP than a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, let's hear it. We've got Cam. This is his podcast talking about what he'd rather have.
I ask you, Cam, if you could give back that league MVP for a Super Bowl championship, would you do it?
No.
Oh.
Really?
Sorry, that was First Take. That's Stephen A. And Molly. And Molly's shocked there. Maybe
really?
I think it was Molly. But here's the thing. There's a little more context to this because it sounds like pretty selfish, on its base, right?
Right.
Like Cam saying that he'd rather have the MVP than a Super Bowl. Just it sounds like egotistical and selfish. But his greater point was there's a lot of guys who win Super Bowls who don't leave their mark on the league. Like, yes, they're on great teams and they become champions, but he felt like being the best in the league and leaving his mark on the NFL in the way that he did, which, let's be honest, like Cam does leave a legacy of being that running quarterback, tough. I mean, there's no Josh Allen if there's not a Cam Newton. So he thinks that's like better, or he likes that for his legacy. What do you think?
I mean, it's utterly ridiculous. First of all, forget like the team aspect, like you want to win for your team. Like legacy-wise, for a quarterback, Super Bowl is everything. We're about to see Eli Manning get into the Hall of Fame on Saturday because he won 2 Super Bowl rings. There's no other reason. There's nothing else in Eli's career that says Hall of Fame quarterback. So, yeah, I think this is the dumbest take in the sense that like he would be so much more highly regarded with a Super Bowl championship, legacy-wise.
See, he doesn't think so. Really? I'm not sure. You're right about the quarterbacks and how they get judged, but I think Cam saying, well, I was the best in the league and no one can ever take that away. It's a lot more exclusive to be an MVP of the league than it is to be a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, but I mean, MVP is somewhat in the NFL. It's not even that big a deal. We started covering this recently. Like back in the day, they'd just give it to Peyton or Tom, and nobody really paid attention to it. And now, like Lamar's about to win 2, or
3.
third.
Yeah,
he would trade those in a heartbeat to win a championship because that's the thing. Like Cam is comparing to like Brad Johnson winning the Bucs. Everyone knows Cam Newton would be the reason the Panthers won the Super Bowl. That would be an incredible thing, even if he had lost out the MVP that year. His historical ranking would be much higher if he had won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. Yeah. It's not about like that I can't understand why he would say this. My thing about it is, here's the thing about the MVP versus the Super Bowl. The trick of it is you actually don't win an MVP unless your teammates are also having great years, right? Because we don't give MVPs, like Joe Burrow didn't get the MVP this year, even though he may have deserved it, because the defense was terrible, because T. Higgins was hurt a lot, and all of that stuff. The thing, like, so your teammates and your team have to be good for you to also get the MVP. So that the MVP is something that you rely on teammates, but you don't really share it with them. Not in the way that you share a Super Bowl. And that's what keeps holding me up with this Cam thing. It's the ultimate team sport. In the Super Bowl, you all get to share in the success. And let's be fair, the quarterback, especially one like Cam, to your point, who's the focal point of the offense, will share in it way more. Like, he'll be remembered as the quarterback from that Super Bowl. The MVP, while, yes, your teammates helped you get there, they don't share in it in the same way, in my opinion.
I agree with all that. But even so, like legacy-wise, MVP, like we don't care about MVP. Look at NBA. Like there have been some really bad, not bad, that's too strong a word. There have been some bad decisions from MVP voters. They look at the wrong set of numbers, and they gave Russell Westbrook and James Harden MVPs in the era of LeBron, which is crazy. I mean, people are going to look back in 20 years and say, wait, Russell Westbrook got that over, I assume, LeBron and Curry? It didn't make any sense. I just think the MVPs sometimes do not tell the real story. Like, for example, Lamar Jackson is not the MVP of this year. He's going to win it, but he's not the most valuable player. And you know how I know that? He's home right now. He was not, you have to be in football to be the MVP. I think you have to go all the way. And Cam at least got to the Super Bowl that year. To win that Super Bowl would have been huge. It would have been a one-man. You said his teammates played great. Who were Cam's teammates? I don't even remember. I know Luke Kuechly, but generally, like, he carried that team on his back. His teammates didn't do anything. That was Cam, and more Cam.
Yeah, 855-212-4227. EJ, you see it differently. Well, one thing I'll push back on is the players obviously see MVP differently than the outside world does, because they're judging themselves amongst their peers. And let's keep it in mind, it is a regular season award. I know you hate that, but it is a regular season award. EJ, you didn't have a problem with this.
No, I didn't, because I felt like it was honest. Like, I think at the end of the day, when you're thinking about what you want to be as a player, I think you want to be the best. I think that all these quarterbacks, they want to win Super Bowls, they want to win championships, but I think they also are individually motivated, individually competitive. And I think for Cam Newton, while I know you mentioned that he may have played great and been the reason why the Panthers won a Super Bowl. What if he was Peyton Manning with the Broncos at the end of his career? What if he's a guy who at the end of his career is way past his prime, wins the Super Bowl, but like no one remembers he even was really the quarterback because it was basically a defensive-led team. Like, I think that's what Cam was talking about.
That's not Cam's reality, though. He went to Perloff's point. Like, Cam's reality was he was the star of that team, just like he was the star of his college team that won a title.
But I don't think he's thinking about that season. I think that's the difference. I think he's looking back at his entire career. That was the question, was if you could look back on your career, would you trade a Super Bowl for an MVP? And I think without the context of what that Super Bowl looks like for him, I think he says, if I can go around telling people that I was the best player in the NFL for a season, there are very few guys who can do it. There are thousands of people that have won Super Bowls. There's only dozens that have been the most valuable player. And I think for these athletes, that's a personal badge of honor that they
Really?
get, and I get it.
Well, one thing, I mean, definitely is going to cost him the Hall of Fame, I think. And same with Matt Ryan. If Cam had won that Super Bowl, if his line had stayed healthy, then he probably would be a Hall of Famer. So I don't know if he realized that. And ask Matt Ryan the same question. He won the MVP that year and blew a 28-3 halftime lead. I think that cost him the Hall of Fame. Like, Super Bowls are everything for quarterbacks. And Cam knows that. I think he's just being contrarian.
855-212-4227. It's Maggie and Perloff. We're here, Radio Row in New Orleans. We've got so much more to do, including back to the blockbuster trade. Luka Dončić goes to the Lakers. It's Monday, so we have M&P 500 to get to, and also some draft news, NFL draft news, quarterbacks who are impressing and also falling apart at the Senior Bowl. So we have a lot to get to. Hang with us. It's M&P from NOLA.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Just about 2 days later, still sinking in, the blockbuster NBA trade. Luka Dončić goes to the Lakers and Anthony Davis goes to the Mavericks. Maggie and Perloff, we're live from Radio Row in New Orleans. We've got so much football to get to, Perloff, but this is the stunner that stopped everybody in their tracks because there's so many tentacles. You never see guys like this get traded in their prime. You never see two all-NBA players getting traded for each other. That so rarely happens. And I think the bigger thing, we're so used to guys in the NBA getting traded and they ask for trades. They make a big stink about it. They want to not only get out of where they are, but go another place specifically, and that's all they'll do. It really does seem like Luka Dončić, the star here, was blindsided by this trade.
Oh, absolutely. Can I ask you a question? Could I have two simultaneous takes? One, that it was an awful trade for the Mavericks, and two, I don't think Luka Dončić is a championship player. Does that possibly be simultaneously true?
Well, I mean, if the goal for the Mavs is to win titles, then you can't say it was a bad trade. If you never think he's going to win, then you think it's a good trade.
Well, it's a bad trade because they should have opened up the market and see what else they could have gotten, because he's a great player. I just don't think he's a championship style player.
Okay.
Does not play defense. He does not move the ball. He's he's a bit streaky from outside. He's incredible. I mean, listen, the guy's a killer. There's no doubt about it. But I don't think his style of basketball ultimately wins championships in the NBA.
Okay.
I firmly believe that.
But here's the thing. The guys who he gets compared to, you like to compare him to James Harden a lot.
Very
James
much
Harden
like him.
never even got to a finals. Like, you have a proof of concept that this guy made a finals at 26. You don't think that there's a world where he does get in better shape, where he does find the right teammates, where the league breaks right in a way that he can win a title? Like,
Very possible.
I can't give up on
But that's
that.
not exactly a ringing endorsement either. You're like, well, maybe the league will break right for him to win a title.
Well, you just said last year you thought they got to the finals and it was like a fluke because Denver got taken out by the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't think that was a fluke, by the way. I think Minnesota built their team to try to beat Denver. But you also, like, I don't think that's the last we've seen of Luka in a final. So that I will completely disagree. And I don't think the Mavs got themselves closer to a title with this particular trade.
Well, I disagree with you on that. I mean, this gives them a better chance this year. I mean,
but how? If Anthony Davis he's hurt right now,
but
right?
he's
a little
be
banged
healthy.
up. He'll be back. Luka, by the way, is also like banged up, but he'll be back as well. I just don't know if I see Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving. Now you're putting together a team on the fly midway through the season, and you're asking them to go win the title, or else this whole thing didn't work.
Well, you might get a 3-year window. Okay, but all right, stay on the Lakers for 1 second.
Okay.
Let's say, I mean, the time frame is quick too. They have LeBron and Luka right now, but how long is that going to be? 2 years at most?
Yeah, I mean, LeBron's 40.
So what if they don't win a title before LeBron leaves? Very possible. I mean, the odds increased dramatically this year. They went from, 40 to 1 to 18
to 1, yep.
So the odds increased. But say they don't win this, like, what is the next generation? They have a star in Luka, but that doesn't mean that they have Kobe and Paul Gasol. Like, I think it's a long stretch to say Luka is the key to multiple more championships in LA. I'm not quite sure how they build that team. I think there's a lot of work left to do over the next 10 years because you have this really small window with LeBron, and then after LeBron, who do you put around Luka to win a title? I'm not sure it's that easy. It's like the way people are talking about this trade is like they traded Kareem Abdul-Jabbar from the Bucks to the Lakers. Now I think it's a different kind of trade because obviously Kareem was going to win titles. I don't see that with Luka.
Well, I mean, it's the Kareem is so different. It was a different league. There were fewer teams. There was there was less talent. Like I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole.
But there's no way Kareem wasn't going to win a title because he's the best player.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that Luka is a top 5 player, and you always talk about this, and we talk about a lot with professional sports now. There are not a lot of sure things, and I realize I'm saying that as the Chiefs are about to be on the precipice of a three-peat, and the Patriots did what they did.
Yeah.
But there are really, especially in basketball, there aren't a lot of sure things. So why don't you try to give yourself the best chance? And it's hard for me to believe that Anthony Davis and Kyrie, that's the best chance to win a title. And 2, that you are somehow better off without him. Like yesterday, when you heard their press conference, and that's Nico Harrison, who's the GM, and Jason Kidd, although Jason Kidd was just kind of there, they kind of made it seem like this could be an addition by subtraction kind of thing. That was sort of the vibes that I was getting, and that's kind of the vibe that everyone's putting out there, like that they didn't love the way that Luka went about his business.
Yeah, I mean, I think the comparison is James Harden after he got them to a Game 7 in Houston. If I told you, right, when James Harden was taking off in Houston, when he won the MVP, if I had said the team will actually be better off without him, most people would say that's ridiculous. The guy just won an MVP.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe internally they see him as closer to Harden.
Manny, can we hear cut 2, please? Nico Harrison, the GM of the Mavs, wanting to build a defensive team that helped usher this trade.
Jay Kidd and I, we've had a vision in the culture that we want to create since we've been here. And the players that we're bringing in, we believe exemplify that. And, we think defense wins championships. And we're bringing in one of the best two-way players in the league. A lot of people don't talk about, what he does defensively and offensively. But, if you can name first-team All-NBA players that are also first-team All-Defensive players. That's a unique unicorn to try to find. And we're able to find that.
10 years ago, is Anthony Davis still the unicorn? I mean, he's still a good player. See, this is what sucks. I don't want to make it seem like I'm denigrating Anthony Davis. He's a good player. But it's not like they've been in the finals year after year after year.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lakers are barely making the playoffs and getting swept by the Nuggets. So it's like, wow, we really found the missing piece here. It's like, what? I just don't see it. More from Nico Harrison, please. Manny, can we please hear on why they traded Luka Dončić?
I think it wasn't really like a point. I think it was like, how do we make our team better? There's some unique things about his contract that we had to pay attention to. There's other teams that were loading up, that he was going to be able to make his own decision at some point of whether he wants to be here or not, whether we want to supermax him or not, or whether he wants to opt out. So I think we had to take all that into consideration and feel like we got out in front of what could have been a tumultuous summer.
Only if you weren't offering the supermax, because history will tell you that every player who's been offered it will take it. So the only tumultuous thing I think was probably going to be coming from the Mavs side.
How many people is that?
I don't know, 10, 8?
Tatum and Brown I'm not on mic, but Tatum and Brown.
Tatum and Brown.
Those two guys.
Giannis didn't get a supermax?
His contract might have came up before. His contract might have came up before the supermax thing happened. So
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Listen, I think that if you invented a problem that either didn't exist yet because nobody thought that Luka wanted to leave, or the other part is you just didn't want to pay him, and they're trying to make it seem like, well, we weren't sure what Luka was going to do. Call it what it was. You didn't want to pay him. You didn't want to make the investment.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm trying to defend something that's indefensible. I get it. It was a bad trade. There's no doubt about it. But I understand, I just don't see Luka like I think everybody else sees Luka. Like any guarantee of anything. Think of Jason Kidd as a player.
Yeah.
He was tenacious. I mean, on both sides of the ball, 100%. He was all about the team, everything he did, and he won a ton of basketball games.
And how many titles?
Well, at least he took an average Nets team to
two finals and got blown out.
Yeah,
and then
but
he won a title at the end, at the very end.
He's not even nearly as good as Luka. He just did everything the right way. Luka does not play like that. Luka's just a different kind of player. He's very different. He's very, very high usage. He definitely does not play defense. Like, these things are real, and I think.
But did anyone think that he was Jason Kidd?
No. Well, I mean, did anyone? Honestly, were you guys as surprised as I was that the Mavs made the finals last year? I'm like, oh my God, things really fell right. Thank God they didn't see the Nuggets, because I understand that they got these two great defensive centers and Gaffney and Lively, and it was a great combo. But I was actually very surprised. I would never have thought Luka. I was shocked that Luka made a finals, because I'm like, that style never makes the finals. Then they got the finals, it just got blown out. I know it was a gentleman's sweep, but they had, obviously, when you see a real team that moves the ball around, they had no chance.
Yeah, but I also think that it might have been the Celtics' time. The Celtics were, tons of pressure to finally win. If they didn't win that finals, or it's like, are we breaking up Tatum and Brown and all of that stuff? I mean, the Celtics had been there and been knocking on the door for a long time. That Mavs team, maybe a little surprising, but when you have one of the best players in the league, you can make a surprising run like that.
Yeah.
And you don't know if it was actually going to end up being a surprise or something more perennial.
Well, it was probably not going to happen this year with Luka.
Who knows? No one thought it was going to happen last year.
I just think they're pinned pretty far behind one team, the Thunder, and there are other teams like this team's not being the Thunder.
Did you think the Thunder were going to lose last year?
Yes, the Thunder were young and not ready. No, of course I thought they were going to lose. Did anyone pick the Thunder? Everyone thought the Nuggets were going to the title again.
Yeah, but the Thunder were the number 1 seed, and they have one of the most exciting young players, and that's, I think, one thing the Mavs feel like they can maybe win a title this year before the Thunder really get their feet under them.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4227. We're asking who will win a title first, Dallas or the Lakers? Michael's in Dallas. Hey, Michael, what's up?
Hey, Maggie, at least we're not still talking about Josh Allen.
Well, in a good way or a bad way with Josh Allen?
Oh, who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl first?
Oh, Josh Allen or who?
Luka
Lamar Jackson?
or Josh Allen?
Probably Lamar.
Yeah, I've been trying to drink to forget. You know what my problem is that they didn't even shop him to the league. Did you hear that there was one other team that they offered Luka to?
No, Michael, and thank you for the phone call. That's the whole crazy part of this. No matter what the outcome is, the process was totally warped because Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka, the GM of Dallas and LA respectively, basically did this over coffee. And they're telling people that nobody knew. Anthony Davis didn't know. Luka didn't know. LeBron didn't know. I find very hard to believe. But they're making it seem, Perloff, like it was just the two of them sitting around with a powwow and a back of the envelope. How do we get this done?
Yeah. No, it does feel that way. I don't know how to explain that. I'm not sure there were all these other great deals. Again, if Anthony Davis was 3 years younger, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be like, ooh, that's the guy you want to get. 31-year-old Anthony Davis. Do you really think you could have gotten Giannis? You're not getting Tatum. You're not getting Anthony Edwards. Like, who are you? What the interesting thing is, like, what value would you have gotten for Luka? You would have gotten picks, but would those picks have guaranteed to work out? Like, the Lakers' picks might not be any good even. They might be low picks.
Okay, well, here's the thing. The picks are always a little bit dicey. The picks could be nothing, or the picks could be Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, which are exactly the picks that Boston got in trading with the Brooklyn Nets and then making a trade with your Philadelphia 76ers.
Wow, from 3-1.
Okay, but I'm just saying those were 2 first-round picks that came back in that trade, and those became the cornerstone of what the Celtics are now.
No, but that move, they were already at 3, and there was a lot of shenanigans going on about who was going to pick who.
No, I'm talking about the Nets and the Celtics trade with Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce.
Was that 3 from the Celtics trade? Or
yes.
Both of those, yes.
Oh, I thought that was their own
both of those picks came from the Brooklyn Nets.
Yes, so
I
sometimes the picks end up really working out.
Right.
So,
but I mean, how many other times have they not?
Well, I don't know, because you have right now with Oklahoma City, one of the guys who's a really big contributor to that team is Jalen Williams, and he was one of the picks that ended up coming from the Clippers, along with Shea. But one of those Clippers picks ends up becoming a guy who may win the title this year. I don't know, dude. I just think that you also can't say that we don't know if another superstar was available because nobody knew that Luka was available.
Right. But a young superstar like Shea's not going. Like,
Well, Giannis
Why?
is not young, but wouldn't you rather have him?
It's like my parents said, though. You don't know if you don't ask, right? Like, we keep saying, like, this won't happen, this won't happen. Like, my thing is, why not? If I was Boston, if you called by Luka Dončić for Jason Tatum, I'm definitely considering that.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, my God. By the way,
Luka's a
Giannis-
way better player than Jason Tatum. He's a way better player.
Dude. Yeah, but you can't. I mean, Jason just won you a title.
And
I
he
don't.
did not. He was that Finals MVP.
I do not agree with that.
You think that Jason Tatum's better than Luka Dončić?
I mean, Jason Tatum is a two-way player.
I get that, but Luka Dončić is an entire offense.
Yeah, I know,
And
but
Jason Tatum has
entire offense at the expense of the other four
And Jason
players.
Tatum just went to the NBA
I would take
Finals and
Tatum.
struggled shooting the ball for most of the NBA Finals, which is why.
Yeah, but he had
Jaylen
like
Brown,
14 boards a game. He was amazing.
I would
just
not
think-
say he was amazing, but okay.
Yeah, but he was working it. I mean, he was trying like really hard. He had a great defensive and a great. How many rebounds a game? He got double-digit rebounds in the finals.
He was good, but the conversation coming out of that Finals was, man, Jason Tatum won the Finals, but he did not win the Finals MVP.
So who would you take, Anthony Davis or Jason Tatum?
I honestly, if I was, I probably would take Jason Tatum. If to me, if I was Dallas, I would have preferred to have Jason Tatum because to me, you're not changing your whole team the way you are now. Because at least Jason Tatum and Luka kind of play a similar position, they're similar size. They have two centers that they have invested in Gafford and Lively. You just talked about. Like, where the hell are those guys going to play?
We're asking you on Twitter who is more likely to win a title first. The Lakers are winning this in a landslide, 76% to 24%.
Really?
You can go.
I'm shocked.
and vote.
24%.
I think it's. I don't know. I think people are probably looking at this and saying, "Man, what did we not know behind the scenes?" Yeah. Because that's the only way you can justify how quickly this all came together and the fact that it seemed like Dallas just had to get him out. Because why? You could even wait till the summer to do this if you wanted to, and you don't have to be like in your facility every day, and all your teammates have to answer questions about it, and it's this big distraction. You could have just waited till the off season and fully shopped him around. And they still didn't do that.
Yeah.
So I think people, the 24% are probably thinking, man, they really had to get him out of there.
Well, no, I think the 24% are thinking they have Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. Like, that's a short-term possibility. At least you're in play. Where Luka, LeBron, it's funny, their odds went up. That feels like a stretch to me to win the finals this year. It could happen, but to win the whole thing, like, I just don't know. Like, LeBron's 40. We keep ignoring that fact. Are they really going to – their odds shot up. Like, how is that team, unless they make another move, and that changes everything. I just don't think that team can get through the crazy West. You got Oklahoma City, you got Denver, you got even the bad teams like Phoenix and Golden State. Like, it's just brutal. I think that there's no way the Lakers can match up defensively with the other teams in the West. So if you don't win in the next 2 years, then the conversation changes with Luka. Like, then he's 28 and injury prone. So it's not guaranteed. Nothing here is guaranteed with Luka.
855-212-4227. Okay, you're welcome to weigh in on this blockbuster trade. We also saw De'Aaron Fox get moved to San Antonio, 3-team deal that brings Zach LaVine to the Sacramento Kings, and some pretty interesting times here for the NBA. Definitely not boring, but we have plenty of football to get back to as well, as we are live from Radio Row in New Orleans. Coming up next, we do the M&P 500. It is a Monday show after all, so whose stock is up and whose stock is down after a big weekend.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. I really want to hear from people defending the Mavs, Maggie, because I admit I'm trying to squint and see their reasoning. It's tough. I think the large majority of people think it was one of the worst trades in NBA history.
Yeah,
but
Luka Dončić and Anthony Davis getting traded for each other. Yes.
Yeah, but I don't think Luka Dončić is the guaranteed championship player that a lot of people do. So we'll see how it all works out. But definitely call us if you can explain the Mavs. If Nico Harrison, if you're listening,
Yeah.
call in, buddy.
He really couldn't do a great job of it yesterday. I don't know why he'd be any better at it today. Adrian's our pal in Maryland. You like this trade for the Mavs, though, Adrian. How are you?
I'm good, and you guys as well. I do like the trade for the Mavs. They're getting defense. Both of them are in short-term futures.
Yeah.
So you look at Anthony Davis. He's going to play 5, 6 more years, 7 more years. LeBron's only going to play maybe 2 or 3 years, so they're going to build around Luka. But the Mavs Anthony Davis is going to get to play where he wants to play. He wants to play forward. He's not going to have to play center, which is a good thing. Dallas is getting their defense. The thing I don't like about the Lakers, they got two guys that are ball dominant now that need the ball in their hand, and everybody else is basically going to sit around and watch LeBron and watch Luka play the game. And both of them, they both can't have all the shots in the game. They're going to have to get people involved, and that's the issue. Then Luka's he's basically a traffic cone out there on defense.
Yeah.
Last year against Boston, they knew exactly who they were going after, and it was Luka. He's the liability, and so the Lakers right now, their defense is going to be. It's going to be trash when you see them. You watch when Luka
Yeah, well,
plays.
Luka, I mean, Adrian, thanks for the call. Austin Reeves is not exactly Mr. Defense. There's a lot of guys. Yeah, they're going to have to shore up on defense for sure. But here's my question, though. Are you sure, we may not think this could work with Luka and LeBron. I agree. There's one basketball. I don't know if LeBron wants to give it up as quickly as he claims that he does. He's a high-usage player, and Luka's maybe the highest. But are we sure, the Mavs side of this is what I get held up on? Because to make a move like this, I think you have to say we're all but guaranteeing ourselves a title. To not shop him and, pull this off the way that you did and have this urgency, I think you have to be, if the Mavs saying, we're going to win a title this year.
I don't think the Mavs can look into a camera and say that.
Exactly. So that's my issue with the trade, because you could have just waited till the offseason.
Yeah.
You could have waited till guys had a training camp to get to know each other, gel, all that stuff. You had to do this right now at the middle of the season?
Maybe you think you have a slightly better chance.
Maybe, but it's not like the return was so good. So you have Luka now for a year and a half, basically, before you need to, before the Lakers have to decide if they want to pay him. So you'd think that would give you more in a trade. Right? It's like when you trade a guy when he has more time left under contract, generally you get more back in return. The Mavericks didn't even get more back. They got AD back, which is great, and they got Max Christie back, which they think he can be a good player. You got one draft pick? Even just protect yourself for the future, I would have gotten at least more draft picks.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make the argument that are the Lakers picks. I mean, they have Luka. He's awesome. There's no way they're going to do that. But
yeah, Mavs should have thought about that.
But there is an argument you have a better chance of winning it all this year and next year with AD.
I don't know. Did anyone think the Lakers are 40-1 to win the title? Okay, and that's with healthy Anthony Davis. Well, you assume healthy Anthony Davis, I guess. LeBron, this team that they've put around him, all of a sudden AD is going to move, and I know he wants to play the 4, and this is the 5, and he was playing the 5, and he wants to play the 4. Do you think that's all of a sudden going to unlock this magic run to the finals?
No, but I do think that if Kyrie takes over some of Luka's usage, I think that could be an interesting team. I kind of like the fit of those two players. I mean, the rest of the players, they need I keep reading they need more shot creation. They've brought in great players. They've done a good job of surrounding Luka with decent players like P.J. Washington, who knew he was good.
Mm-hmm.
And he could be really good. They got rid of Maxi Kleber, who was talking about a defensive sieve. Oh, my God. Teams would hunt him like crazy. I think
they sounded more sad to get rid of Kleber yesterday than they did Luka at the press conference.
I think the Mavs are definitely a better defensive team. So that's something. And listen, if I told you, again, it's the age. 3 years ago, Kyrie and AD, wow, that would have been something.
Well,
and LeBron and AD was something. They won a title.
Let's get to the M&P 500.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
Okay, it's Monday, which means a little stock up, stock down after a big weekend. Pro, who's your stock up, sir?
Okay, my stock up is going to go a little sentimental. Jack Beck, TCU wide receiver who lost his brother in the New Orleans terror attack. Tiger Beck had a walk-off touchdown in the Senior Bowl and apparently had a killer Senior Bowl week all around. Proved himself an NFL player. It was script, Maggie. It was crazy. The quarterback rolled right. It didn't look like he had anyone. Threw it into a crowd. And Jack Beck, the brother of Tiger Beck, caught the ball. Very, very emotional. Not just for him, for everybody there. Of course, nothing makes up for the tragic loss of his brother. But this was a cool moment. And the entire NFL world who was at the Senior Bowl sort of embraced it. It was awesome.
It was a really nice moment. That poor family. That is just so tragic. And again, wasn't even all that long ago. And here we are in New Orleans. But I digress. My stock up. Got to give it to Caitlin Clark. The hits keep coming. Gets her jersey retired by Iowa. Although that's not much of a shock. But they took a very big risk in this jersey retirement ceremony, Pearl, which is they did it after the game. Always a huge risk. Generally, you do those before the game because you don't know what's going to happen. People might not be in the mood for a jersey retirement. But I will beat USC. Then they retire her jersey. So it was happy faces all around.
Nice.
So stock up for Caitlin. Of course, she put that program on the map. All right, stock down.
Okay, stock down. This one's easy. It goes back to last week. Ohio State loses both coordinators of the football team. Chip Kelly is going to take over the OC job in Las Vegas with the Raiders. They lost Jim Knowles to Penn State. And you know, it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this. None of the Ohio State players went to the Senior Bowl because
they were just playing.
They just played.
Yeah.
Does this late season affect college teams getting ready for next year? And they lost their coordinators well into the offseason. I think Ohio State has a tough assignment. They got to bring in 2 new coordinators, teach everybody the new system, and then not only that, Michigan is stacked for next year. I think they're going to lose to Michigan 5 times in a row.
Oh, my gosh.
So my stock down is there. I mean, it doesn't matter. Ryan Day has the title. He's fine. But I think this puts them in a challenging position, which we see with champions. You lose your coordinators. You take a step back. This has not been a great week in Columbus.
You're right. My stock down, well, this one's a little bit personal to the show. We have incredible engineering crew with us, and Justin and Bobby are with us today. They're behind the scenes here making sure this all sounds really good. I'm sorry for Justin. Justin, our engineer's name is Justin Tucker. Of all the weeks to share a name with Justin Tucker, it's been gangbusters really for like the last decade, and now 3 more massage therapists have come out on top of the 6 that have already accused the football Justin Tucker of improprieties. 3 more over the weekend. This is being reported by the Baltimore Sun, and our poor Justin Tucker, who's doing nothing but being an upstanding citizen and helping our broadcast and making sure we look good. Now he's walking around as Justin Tucker on this week. Sorry for our Justin Tucker, but tough week.
Wait, when you mentioned production, I assume you were going with EJ destroying all the equipment
well,
on an hour basis.
Yeah. I'm giving EJ a chance to really get the stock up by the end of the show. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Starting at rock bottom here, Maggie. Only go up from here.
All of our equipment's basically broken. It's only Monday.
I have another quick stock up.
Yeah.
This is a great stat from the Pro Bowl. I didn't watch it. I assume most of you did not watch it. Probably will outrate the NBA Finals, but that's besides the point. The LSU receivers in the Pro Bowl caught a combined 8 touchdowns. And I was like, what? Listen to this list. Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Like, that is a sick, because Brian Thomas was best rookie receiver coming. He's ready to go. That is insane that you're going to have all these guys from one school. They're going to dominate the NFL for the next 8 years. Okay. I don't know. 8 touchdowns in one game for LSU receivers. Tiny stat. We're in Louisiana. I thought I'd give them a shout out.
That's fantastic. I've got another stock down, and this one's a little personal to me and my flight that I took down yesterday. Stock down to anyone who's consistently farting on the plane. How dare you? Wow. I was on the plane with a plane farter. And it's like, just go to the bathroom, whoever you are. Like, put us all out of our misery. I feel like this was not a thing when I was a kid or even a young adult. I just feel like I'm surrounded now by people who are just farting with reckless abandon in the airplane. It's like, it's still the same decorum, guys. You can't just unload like this. I was like, I had to sit with my like face covered up by my shirt, and the dude next to me was doing that also, and I don't think it was coming from him. How dare you? I'm pretty sure it was.
So is this a lot of plane rides for you?
I feel like it's been a lot more lately. And yesterday, I just can't take it anymore. How dare you? Yes. It's just bad. We're living in a society, people. You can't just let loose on the plane and just fart like crazy and think that, like, it's going to come back around on you, number one. And 2, it's just bad. It's just bad karma.
I literally have no idea.
You've never been in a plane with a plane farter? EJ,
no.
Back me up.
I have not.
Manny.
I can't say that I have either.
Bogusch.
I've smelled throw up on a plane, but not
Justin Tucker.
Not farts.
Would you say it's a national trend, as Maggie is saying right now?
I don't think so.
Decorum ceases to exist. Nobody is looking out for each other anymore. We're too busy arguing and fighting about everything, and now everyone's just farting on the plane. It's gross.
But Maggie, we know your life. You've been on like 2 planes in the last 18 months. You're making it sound like you fly to work every day and there's people farting in your face the whole time.
I'm telling you, maybe because it just lingers and lasts. There's like the air, like circulation is not always gangbusters in these planes. My plane was packed too, and somebody was just dropping just fart after fart. It was disgusting.
Maggie, maybe they were sick.
Then go to the bathroom.
Maybe it was the smell.
Or don't fly.
Maybe it was the smell of the bathroom.
I wasn't
on many planes.
I wasn't in first class or anything, but I wasn't that far back.
Huh. I don't know. I didn't know this was a trend. This is something that I think everyone needs to be aware of.
I think we need like a campaign.
You're saying
raise money and stuff to get rid of these plane farters.
And you kind of implied there that political polarization is leading to farting on a plane, which is a new theory.
Just basically disintegration of any kind of social skills. But EJ and I talk about this all the time. People get on planes now, and it's like all of a sudden, like no laws exist or no even social contracts that we have with each other exist anymore. And Exhibit A is the plane farter.
I just feel like, it's bad. It's really bad. I'm holding out a little thing for that the person was not feeling well, and like they can't just live in the bathroom for 3 hours.
Well, think about your fellow passengers,
Yeah,
and with that, we hand it off to Bogusch. That was a little M&P stock up, stock down. Plane farters, you know who you are. You've been called out by me today. Stop the madness.
Mental note: do not fly home with Maggie.
No.
I'll be sniffing around. No, it's
I'm
disgusting.
just saying you seem to be not sure this has ever happened to me, to be honest.
Oh, are you trying to say it's like a whoever smelt it dealt it? It's not me. It's definitely not me.
Whoever denied it supplied it.
There you go.
I couldn't even. That gas of that magnitude
No.
couldn't even exist in my body. It was bigger than me.
I wasn't implying it was you. I was implying that you seem to attract plane farts. Because
lucky me.
You're like, America, this time we look ourselves squarely in the mirror. You have to stop farting on planes. Like, that's your issue?
Yes. It's my only issue. Do whatever you want with Mars and, our country, but stop farting on planes. Are we
Maggie's a one vote.
Single issue voter.
Yeah, single issue voter. And it's farting.
It's not farm subsidies. It's farming. Farting.
Classy.
Well, I'm actually the one who is being classy because I'm not subjecting anyone to that kind of reeking disgustingness. Back to you, Bogusch.
Hey, thanks. It's not Luka for AD, but another significant NBA trade last night. The rumors of De'Aaron Fox going to San Antonio, now reality. Zach LaVine and 3 first-rounders go to Sacramento. The Bulls took home 3 players and a 2025 number 1. Reports of that deal surfaced after Chicago lost in Detroit 127-119. LaVine did not play for the 3rd straight game for personal reasons. The Mavericks, meanwhile, shipped out Luka, then hopped on the floor in Cleveland yesterday and took a 144-101 beating. The Cavs scored 50 points in the first quarter, had a team record 91 at halftime. The Grizzlies with a 132-119 win in Milwaukee, while John Morant dealt with right shoulder issues, and the Celtics cooled off the Sixers.
This is Tatum against Maxey, left side of the floor, 5 on the shot clock. Tatum drive, pull up, 14 feet, got it again!
Getting where he wants to go anytime he wants to get there.
And Jason Tatum again for the Philadelphia fans has become Freddy Krueger. Celtics have their largest lead, up by 5 with 1:16 to go.
That's Sean Grande and Cedric Maxwell on Celtics radio. Tatum scored 13 of his 35 in the fourth in a 118-110 win after Boston trailed by 26 late in the third. If you were a great college player recently and wore number 22, you got your number retired yesterday. Iowa put Caitlin Clark in the rafters after a 76-69 upset of 4th-ranked USC. And South Carolina honored Asia Wilson while thumping Auburn 83-66. The Fever, by the way, gave Clark their own gift, signing DeWanna Bonner in free agency. Bonner is 4th in league history in scoring, with an all-star in 3 of the last 4 seasons in Connecticut. SI says the Raiders are paying Chip Kelly $6 million a year to be their offensive coordinator. That would make him the highest paid coordinator in the NFL. Kelly's been in college, just winning the national title with Ohio State, since going 2-14 as the Niners head coach back in 2016.
Doesn't that seem crazy? Like, Chip Kelly, like the highest paid offensive coordinator, suggests that he would be the most coveted, but I didn't hear anybody else. clamoring for him like this, right?
I thought there was a moment when the Patriots maybe want to talk to him, but they brought Josh McDaniels back.
Right.
So.
I'm thinking like, we saw Ben Johnson and kind of like how hot he was as a coordinator. It just seems like Chip Kelly. I didn't think of him as this massive guy that people wanted, but $6 million is not chump change.
It's also the Raiders, so they probably were negotiating against themselves. He's like, how about $6 million? I'm like, yeah, sure.
That's true.
How about 7?
Well, I mean, one thing is they probably had to outbid Ohio State, who lost Jim Knowles for $4 million, right?
No, 3.
$3 million.
3.5.
So the offensive guy, you got to think, is worth a lot more than the defensive guy.
But not double, right?
I mean, they probably had to go 1.5 over Ohio State to make him leave, I would imagine.
Wow. I mean, if they were going to give Chip Kelly 4.5 to stay, but not get to 3.1 for Jim Knowles, that seems a little off. Math in Columbus.
Yeah. I mean, if Jim Knowles gets $3 million to be the defensive coordinator in Penn State, coordinators, that's crazy, actually. Now they step back, that's a big number.
I just had a thought of now Chip Kelly, not that, he wasn't rich already, but he seems like someone who would sit down at a blackjack table as like a card counter, Not like
and fart.
Maggie, you need to give your power rankings of the offensive defensive coordinators 1 to 32 who are farters and non-farters.
Most likely to be farters, not farters. All right, let me get right on that. What else you got, Bogusch?
In the NHL last night, the Rangers down Vegas 4-2, making goalie Jonathan Quick the first American, 15th overall with 400 career wins.
I mean, it means I'm been lucky enough to play with a lot of great hockey players that value winning and, put that above all else. So, I'm just grateful that been on some great teams over the course of my career.
The victory also snapped the Rangers' 3-game slide. Vegas has now lost 3 in a row. #Manny Pucks.
Yeah.
Now back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Bogues. In the chat, they're telling me that, what did they say? That I should make sure I don't take my shoes off on the plane.
I had that thought too.
But then Sergio weighing in, Maggie's shoes are too big. She's forced to check them.
Wow.
I mean, fair. They got to go under the plane like skis or golf clubs or something.
Do you have to sit in the emergency row with the extra leg room?
Yeah, I mean, or else I'm really jammed.
Yeah.
Jammed in one of those regular seats. It's true. Sergio, game, set, match. Bogues, thanks so much. Coming up, lots more to do, including more from the Super Bowl. We're live from Radio Row in New Orleans. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a
giant feet, they're the talk of the town. When she walks the sidewalk cracks, she's bringing buildings down. She tried to buy some shoes, but they said no way. Now she's wearing boat sails just to get through the day. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on poles, creating legs for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make a mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more. At the beach, she's a hit, making giant sand castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more. At the beach, she's a hit, making giant sand castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on puddles, creating legs for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make a mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. old brand. She's the funniest girl in all the land. With her giant feet, she's never beat. Maggie's big feet make life so sweet. Andrew Perloff loves his turtle, call it chill shot bliss. He feeds it kale and lettuce, then gives it a little kiss. Andrew Bogusch's turtles got a mansion in the tank with a slide, a tiny hammock, and a treasure chest bank. Two-tone Tony rolls in, his turtles got swag. Cruising slow but steady, repping that reptile flag. Meanwhile, Kevin Lamel's got tacos on his plate. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he's got no time to wait. Turtle love, taco dreams, Andrew living supreme. Two-ton Tony, slow and steady crew. Kevin's got breakfast tacos, what's Peter gonna do? Yo, Perloff's turtles chillin', basking in the heat. Bogusch's turtles flexing, got gold chains on its feet. Tony's turtles on TikTok, racking up views, while Kevin's tacos sizzle, serving up the news. But Velati's MIA, not a damn thing new. Work? Nah, he'd rather just hit snooze. We're out here hustling, making turtles the stars, and Pete's just ghosting like he's hanging on Mars. Turtle love, taco dreams, Andrew living supreme. Two-ton Tony, slow and steady crew. Kevin's got breakfast tacos, what's Peter gonna do? Yo, Perloff's turtle spotlight, tacos taking the stage, while Velati's excuses keep showing his age. Perloff's turtles name LeBron, Bogusch calls his taco just for the show. Tony's turtles trending, breaking the mold. Kevin's got a taco so spicy it's gold. And Pete, yeah, fuck that guy, still a no-show. The legend of Velati always laying low. Turtle love, taco dreams, Andrew living supreme. Two-ton Tony, slow and steady crew. Kevin's got breakfast tacos, what's Peter gonna do? So here's to turtles, tacos, and the crew on the grind. Except for Velati, who's always lagging behind. Perloff, Bogusch, Tony, Kevin, y'all are the best. But Peter Velati, man, he's failed the test.
Welcome back, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We're live from Radio Row in New Orleans. It's been a fun trip so far. Just getting here, getting our sea legs. One po' boy down.
Yeah,
I
what'd you think?
I went for the grilled shrimp po' boy, and last night, EJ, you got the fried shrimp po' boy. The disdain with which the waitress shamed me and everyone else who got the grilled shrimp and praised EJ who got the fried shrimp was like not even subtle.
I didn't even know they made grilled shrimp.
Yeah, me neither. I thought they were always fried, but they had grilled on the menu. So I'm like, all right, let's lighten it up. It's Monday, for heaven's sakes. It was Sunday.
So what makes a po' boy? The bread?
Yeah, maybe. The sandwich?
Yeah, it's bread and fish.
Or the sauce.
Mostly shrimp. And usually lettuce, tomato. Simple.
Yeah, and pickles.
But it is usually a fried fish or a fried shrimp. So I was surprised they had grilled as well. I was then doubly surprised that you all chose grilled. I was like, I mean, we're in New Orleans. This is what we do, right?
I know. It was just like the waitress has had a way of really kind of giving us the stink eye in a very nice way. She's like, kudos to EJ for ordering it the right way. Anyway, we've got some football to talk about beyond just the Super Bowl. And Pearl, that was the Senior Bowl that happened over the weekend. Our pal Jim Nagy, who does such a great job running it. The quarterbacks obviously take center stage. Now, Jalen Milroe, really up and down. It looked like he was trending in a good way, like improving day by day. But then when the game actually happened, it wasn't all that impressive. As opposed to Jaxson Dart, who had reportedly a great Senior Bowl, and it looks like his draft stock is really climbing.
Yeah, I mean, Jaxson Dart's a funny guy because everyone doesn't know what to make of him in Lane Kiffin's system at Ole Miss. It's like the ultimate system. But he was the number one recruit overall, Gatorade Player of the Year, USC. He was a big deal, and then everyone thought he cooled off. This is out of nowhere that he's talking about it first round. Like during the season, did we once talk about Jaxson Dart as potentially the guy who was always Shador, then Cam Ward came on and Milroe third? I'm very surprised that this has happened so fast.
You want to know what it is? And well, maybe it could be just credit to the player themselves and putting on a good camp and whatever. But there's just not a lot of QBs this year. And I think we're going to invent them.
Well, he's not invented. I mean, listen, he's very productive. I don't think he's like some guy out of Shepherd University like Tyson Badger.
Right.
So I think invent, doesn't that sound too strong a word? You're saying invent him as a pro prospect.
I'm just saying, and push his draft stock up to then, and in
yes,
some ways,
I see what you're saying. Yep, I agree.
It kind of kills these guys a little bit because the supply is so big. The demand is so big, the supply is not big enough. So then we push these guys up the draft boards, and then their first-round picks, they come in, they don't play well, and it's like, oh, well, he's a bust. And as a cycle gets really vicious.
Yeah, I mean, what's the comparison? Bo Nix. I mean, last year, all 6 quarterbacks looked very promising. I would say all 6 early returns are hits, right?
Yeah, right. And they all went in the first round. But it didn't – I mean, outside of like Michael Penix, who had an injury history, but it was kind of silly that people thought he wasn't going to be in the first round. Bo Nix, I think, ended up in the exact right place for him. And J.J. McCarthy, you would have like – we still have no idea what he's going to be. We haven't seen him yet. He didn't throw the ball a lot in college, so we have no idea.
Yeah, I think Jaxson Dart obviously is a Bo Nix comparison. Makes sense because Bo Nix, huge recruit who was disappointing and then turned it on at the end. I could see that. Although Bo Nix had 45 touchdowns and 3 picks his senior year. Like, that was so overwhelmingly success. I don't think Jaxson Dart is that. I don't think he goes top 3 ultimately. I think he is top of the second round.
Okay.
Which is kind of like a first rounder. And functionally, that means that he's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
855-212-4227. The big news, of course. Sorry, did you have more you want to say on the Senior Bowl?
Oh, no. It was kind of fun to watch. I thoroughly
What did you like
enjoyed
about it?
Well, they had 2 running back option passes that were amazing. Ollie Gordon threw one. Forgot Ollie Gordon existed because it's been so long. This, it's going to be, everyone says it was going to be a bad draft, but there was I'm like, oh my God, there's so many good players here. The wide receivers apparently were not there. So there were no wide receivers at all. Maybe we don't get the great wide receiver draft, but they actually literally weren't there. Like, none of them came. But so maybe it's a different draft. Defense finally. Again, it's a weird draft season. Like Cam Ward, then Shador. Did you see the Shador quote from Brian Callahan?
What did he say?
He compared him to Joe Burrow.
Huh.
The Titans coach. So all of a sudden, you're right. They push these guys up. It's getting to be silly season. You're going to see a lot of those guys walking around here. I'm curious, like, when Shador gets to New Orleans, will he be a big deal? I think so.
One thing that I didn't love about the Shador, like the conversation that's starting to creep up around Shador is, and it was a couple like unnamed draft people, so take that for what it is, saying they want to interview him to see how much he wants to put football first. And that to me doesn't seem like that's very fair. Like, I understand he's got the, like, he raps a little, but like it's not like he's on tour, I feel like of all the things, if you want to criticize Dion or Dion getting involved, and by the way, we don't even know how involved he's going to be, to just assume that Shador's not making football the main thing, we have no evidence of that whatsoever. I feel like you're just sort of extrapolating from his dad. Am I right?
Yeah, I actually. That makes no sense, right? Because he's been a very productive college quarterback. That being said, like, you want to ask every player if they love football.
But isn't it kind of, I think for a lot of guys, it's really assumed. EJ, did you know where this is coming from?
I think some of that self-promotion stuff is where it's coming from. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be, does he want to rap more or does he want to do something else more? I think it's, more of like, hey, is he going to be dedicated, committed to what it takes to be a great player, or is he going to be into the podcasting or into...
dude's got a podcast.
Like things like things
so
that aren't
Michael
necessary.
Parsons.
No, I know. I'm not saying I agree. I'm saying I think that's where it's coming from. It's more of like most quarterbacks, they're not really I mean, I can't think of a quarterback that has a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Parsons, hike, go run after the quarterback. Like, what does he need? He doesn't even need to look at tape.
Right.
I'm saying Shador is a different thing. I forgot he had a podcast.
Yeah, so that may
suddenly you're
I don't
dubious.
know. I just say it may be what they're thinking.
But I disagree with one thing. Like, there are varying degrees of loving football. Like, that is the number one question you're asking in that interview.
Okay,
you got to get a big vibe of how hard is this guy going to work it.
Oh, I get that, but I remember when Myles Garrett was coming out of the draft, and because he happened to be into paleontology, they're like, this guy doesn't like football. Imagine how silly it would have been for the Browns to pass on him. He's a generational pass rusher.
Yeah, wasn't that the Mahomes draft though? So like.
Okay, well, I mean, if I couldn't get Mahomes, I'd like to have Myles Garrett.
Well, eventually they got Deshaun Watson, who was also in that draft.
Well, Deshaun, there were some maybe people should have been looking into the background a little bit more on that one. But I don't know. I just find that kind of silly. Okay, we have a poll question out there for you at Maggie and Pearl. Who is more likely to win a title first? Is it the brand new Lakers with Luka Dončić? Or is it the Dallas Mavericks now with Anthony Davis?
Right now, results 74% Lakers, 26% Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, look, it's creeping up towards Dallas. They're hot on their trail.
Yeah, drip, drip.
They're waking up in the Central Time Zone.
I don't know about that. All right, lots more to unpack from that trade. It was a blockbuster, but what does it mean for LeBron James? We'll get to that next. It's Maggie and Perloff live from Radio Row in New Orleans.
Late night vibes hitting up the show. Maggie and Perloff dropping tapes that glow. And the chat's done a film low, runs the scene. Spitting fire so hot it makes the snow seem mean. Down in Louisiana, Uncle Sam's lit. Rare snow on the ground, but he don't give a shit. Snow in the south, man, what the fuck's this? While Bilatti's ghosting work, he's always dismissed. Stunner film low, dropping shit like whoa. Uncle Sam's bust snow on the floor. Daily says time to bust the plow now. While Bilatti's at home, chilling somehow. Almost spitting truth, he's the chat's big hitter. Uncle Sam's slipping whiskey in his glitter. Maggie's crushing stats, Perloff's got the flow. And Bilatti's at home, chilling somehow. Filmo spitting truth, he's the chat's big hitter. Uncle Sam slipping whiskey in his glitter. Maggie's crushing stats, Perloff's got the flow. And Bilatti, he's like, work, hell no. Daly's cracking jokes, where's that one plow? Louisiana snow, it's rare as Pete somehow. Stunner's calling out, Sam's laughing out loud. Bilatti's excuses bury them in a snowbound cloud. Filmo dropping shit like whoa. Uncle Sam's bust snow on the floor. Daly says time to bust the plow now. While Bilatti's at home, chilling somehow. Filmo in the chat, Sam sloshing his drink. Daly's plowing snow, making Pete rethink. Snow in Louisiana, Bilatti on the run. Both are rare as hell, like Perloff having fun. The chat stays lit, Filmo's throwing flames. Daly's got the plow, Bilatti skips games. Maggie and Perloff hold it down so tight, while Pete's at home, sleeping through the night. Sam's laughing, snow falling slow. Daly's on the grind with that plow in tow. Filmo's running things in the YouTube show, while Bilatti stays MIA, status quo. Time to bust the plow, Daly screams in the chat. Louisiana snow ain't built for that. Maggie and Perloff, the MVPs of the day, while Bilatti's legacy just melts away.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
We made it. New Orleans, site of Super Bowl 59. Here we are. Perloff's Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs. They both arrived yesterday. We'll get back to the blockbuster Luka Dončić trade to the Lakers in just a moment. But as far as this game is concerned, Pearl, still so much to preview, including who would you rather be in this game? Would you rather be the Chiefs, who are on the brink of history, but with that comes so much pressure, and it would almost feel like a letdown if they don't get the three-peat, even though you can appreciate the Chiefs' greatness? Or would you rather be the Eagles, who little more house money, and you have a chance to stop the Chiefs in their tracks?
Well, the Eagles are not here to stop the Chiefs. They're here to win a Super Bowl. Honestly, again, I keep saying there's no heat between the Chiefs and the Eagles. It's funny. After that last win, 38-35 in Glendale, I felt like all the players hugged. There was really no ill will. The Eagles have some teams they don't like, divisional rivals.
Of course.
So I honestly, and I'm very curious, we're going to go to media night tonight. And are the Eagles going to have to answer a lot of questions about the three-peat? Because I feel like the Eagles have such a strong vibe of their own. Like, they're not defined by the Chiefs to me, which is, I think, a good thing. I think they're a little oblivious to the three-peat. I think that they think that we're going to do our thing.
Sure.
And that's their kind of narrative.
Well, that would be the talking point. But here's the reality of the situation, is that, and I know you are an Eagles fan, so put this aside for a second. This entire Super Bowl is about the three-peat. And it might not be for diehard Philly, but for everyone else. So we've been taking calls about the Chiefs now being the villains. That was not true 2 years ago. Things have changed a little bit. And I'm not saying that Philly is an afterthought here. I just think that this Super Bowl is about Chiefs fatigue, Chiefs going for the three-peat, and the Chiefs are really the star attraction. And here come the Eagles, who are can get to the mountaintop and also take out the Chiefs. Like, a lot of people, I think, are rooting for the Eagles now who would have never rooted for them before, not because now they've looked and see, wow, Howie Roseman, what a genius. I never thought, Nick Sirianni. They're only rooting really for the Eagles, Perloff, because they want to see new blood. They do not want to see the Chiefs win.
Right, but you're talking about outside people. I think internally the Eagles don't care.
Well, that's fine, but
I'm saying, like, the Eagles. Think about this Eagles team. They have Jalen Carter, who's new to the league and doesn't seem to care who anybody is. He's just, I'm going to eat your quarterback. Then you have Saquon Barkley, who's got his own narrative that has nothing to do with the Chiefs, coming over from the Giants. And Jalen Hurts is a robot who doesn't feel any human emotion, so he has no idea what's going on. Like, there's really, like, I just don't think that the Eagles care about the three-peat. I don't even think they're really paying attention to that part of the story. The players. I don't even think they're crazy intimidated by Patrick Mahomes yet. I think with 4 minutes left in the game, it'll creep into their mind. I just think the Eagles, with Sirianni and all this stuff, they're just so used to high-level drama. I don't think the moment is going to be too big for them or anything. I just don't think I don't think they're going to be engaged. I'm curious. Like, they're not. I haven't heard any Eagles players say, I'm desperate to stop the three-peat.
Okay, well, ask them before and then ask them after. Because before, they're not going to say anything that's going to be considered bulletin board material, and everyone's going to be probably pretty milquetoast unless, I don't know, A.J. Brown or someone like that wants to go off script. But I would imagine after the fact, the idea that you would be taking down one of the great teams of all time, I think weighs in. And you just mentioned the Giants, where Saquon Barkley came from. look at the Giants, and you mentioned Eli Manning's going to probably get into the Hall of Fame, and it'll be announced this weekend or Thursday. What's the biggest accomplishment there? What really pushes Eli into the Hall of Fame? It's winning the Super Bowl, but look who they beat. Beating Brady.
Yeah, well, that's an exception, right? I
beating
know
an undefeated Brady. Well,
So
now you're beating
Jalen,
keeping a three-peat from the Chiefs. I don't know. I think that this is something that would be a motivator if I were the Eagles. And if I'm going into this game and you're asking me who would I rather be, would I rather be on the cusp of history or the person to stop history? In a lot of ways, I want to be the one to stop history. I want to be the one who will always be remembered because they kept a team from getting to a site that's never been known before in the NFL, and they didn't do it on my watch. I would like that. I would get some personal gratification off of that.
You say after you won, but wouldn't you want to win a three-peat?
Well, I mean, so you'd rather be the Chiefs than you're saying.
Well, I mean, I think the crux of the question is who's got more pressure, right? Isn't that?
I mean, I don't think it. I know because I don't know if the Eagles have more pressure. I think it's what do you want to be? Do you want to be the person going for history or trying to stop history?
Well, I mean, all things being equal, of course you want to go for history, right? Wouldn't you rather be the three-peat team?
Well, that's really hard to come by, though. There's only a couple dynasties that have really existed in the NFL.
Let me ask you this question. Coming into the Giants-Patriots 2007 season Super Bowl, if I had said the same question, do you want to be 16-0 going for the undefeated season, or do you want to be the wild card Giants? Who would you have rather wanted to be?
Well, I think people get a lot of, they get a lot of juice off of stopping Tom Brady, stopping Randy Moss. Like, they got a gift. They got Randy Moss for, a fifth-round pick or something. And, now they're breaking records. It's this all-time offense. They're going for undefeated. I think there's a lot of people who would get their kicks off of stopping that.
Yeah, but wouldn't you want to go for the undefeated season? I mean, make NFL history? I hear you, but you're saying, all things being equal, this is, as you said, the Chiefs Super Bowl. They're in this killer position. I mean, I just think it's interesting. I think the Chiefs, when you put it that way, there's a lot of history on the line. I think the Chiefs are uniquely designed to not let that get to them. I'm very curious. They've never shown any signs of pressure. So when you word all the history and you talk about the 2007 Patriots, and a lot of teams might feel that pressure. I don't think the Chiefs will. And ironically, I don't think the Eagles feel the weight of history either. I'm not sure they're obsessed with stopping the Chiefs. I think they want to dictate the game on their terms.
The one time I felt like I saw the Chiefs really feel pressure was when Kelsey bumped Andy Reid on the sideline last year at the Super Bowl. Remember? He was so ticked off at Reid that he physically made contact and almost knocked him over. And he's lucky he didn't knock him over because that would be played on repeat from now to eternity. But I thought that was them showing that they were feeling the pressure.
I forgot all about that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That got swept under the rug of history because Mahomes couldn't stop.
Because they won. They should thank Kyle Shanahan for that, for kicking the field goal in overtime. EJ, what do you think? Would you rather be the Chiefs going for history or the Eagles being able to stop history?
I think the way I thought about this question to me was interesting because to me it's the Chiefs going for the three-peat or taking the challenge of trying to stop Patrick Mahomes. And I'll be honest, I think I'd prefer the pressure of the three-peat because you've been there before. You know what it takes. None of this is that surprising or scary or anything for these guys. They lived this. The Eagles, a lot of those guys, as Perloff knows, that was on that team, that won a championship, aren't on this roster. And all they know is Super Bowl disappointment. And now they come into a game where maybe they don't feel pressure, but it's the challenge, the physical challenge, saying Patrick Mahomes will probably have multiple spots in the game where you have to get a stop in order to win. And do you feel comfortable being in that position? The Eagles have the best defense in the NFL, but they're playing with a bunch of young guys. I think I'd rather be the Chiefs because I'd rather have that experience, rather have those guys who know what it's like. Yes, there's a lot of pressure trying to go for a three-peat, but they're not going to be afraid of going after a championship. They've done that now several years in a row.
Yeah, this makes me nervous. I have to be honest. Are the Chiefs, and they've had so many opportunities to fold here. The Bills game, normal teams would trip up in one of these games, Megan. I don't mean to make it about your Bills, but normal human beings. But there's something like Patrick Mahomes is a combination of Lamar Jackson and Eli Manning. He's got Lamar's talent and Eli's ability to not let his blood pressure get to him in a key moment. Not that Lamar always does that, but he's unbelievable. He's the perfect quarterback. It's a combination of every great talented quarterback and every great clutch quarterback ever. And it's just amazing. Like, he's got to trip up at some time. Come on, Maggie.
Well, you're going to have to force it, Pearl. They're not just going to hand it to you.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's why I want to be the Chiefs, because they just been there, done that. Nothing gets to them.
855-212-4227. Our pal Jay hanging on in Nashville. Jay, good morning. Would you rather be the Chiefs or the Eagles?
I'd rather be the Eagles because, in Perloff, the Eagles got a different mentality. It's almost like the same mentality the Giants had when they were going up against the Patriots in that 16-0 season. You can tell it's Philly. We don't give a rat's. Who's in front of us, what's going on. We're not going to make that same mistake we made last time. And, it comes from the quarterback, too, because Jalen does have that even kill, not get rattled type of demeanor and everything. But, I'd rather be the Eagles, seriously.
Yeah.
Jay, what do you think about the Luka trade?
Hey, true story. I was in church yesterday. The sermon was going on, and I looked down at my phone, and it popped up. And I almost lost my cookies in church, real loudly. I had to get up and walk to the back and check my phone, man. I thought it was a lie or a hoax or whatever. But what I think about it is I think LA will be all right. I heard one caller saying that they're going to have two ball-dominant. No, LeBron is not ball-dominant. He's just ball-dominant when he has to be, but he's one of the greatest facilitators we've been seeing, being so big and everything. So I think they'll be all right with Luka. And Luka is a pure scorer, man. So, the assists and everything that's going to be getting fed from LeBron's going to be all right. As far as Dallas, and remember we talked about this a couple years ago with Anthony Davis. That dude, he hasn't been hurt lately, but, that dude, you look at him wrong, he might tear an ACL. You got to deal with that. And he's in his 30s. But I think both teams would be all right. I think it's one of those things we got to wait and see. We can't really, it's too early to be making speculations of what it's going to be. But one last thing, since y'all in New Orleans, stay away from them marquee restaurants. You got to go to the mom and pop stores. Get you some boudin, crawfish boudin, and then you got to get you some crawfish etouffee, not egg touffee. I was walking around when I lived there. I was walking around saying egg touffee. It's really etouffee. Crawfish etouffee. Go to the real deal places, not the marquee places, whatever that they advertise.
We are, Jay, thank you for the insight, and we are only going to out of the way mom and pop places. We're not eating at any of I think we have one fancy one, semi-fancy, but that's it. And we are eating crawfish. I couldn't even tell the difference between the two words that Jay was saying. It sounded like he was saying etouffee.
No, he was saying egg touffee was how he was saying.
Oh, egg touffee?
Yeah.
Come on, Jay.
Yeah, he's the only one who thought it was egg touffee, to be honest.
Definitely not egg touffee.
Etouffee is one of those foods I feel like I know, but I was like, what is etouffee? And I'm actually looking at it now. I don't really. It's like gumbo?
Yeah, my mom used to make it all the time, and my grandmother. My late grandmother.
Is it good?
It's amazing. It's very good.
This is what we have to get a little bit later. Again, we're one po' boy in, and we've got a long, long way to go. We also have to get to something. You're welcome to keep coming with the reaction to the Luka Dončić trade at 855-212-4227. We got an email specifically calling out EJ and Perloff. One of our listeners not happy with both of you. In fact, the word they used to describe both of you guys and the stories that you told was disturbing. So we'll get to that. We might as well clear the air. That's Maggie and Perloff at gmail.com, where we say thank you to Kevin, who sends us a picture of his breakfast every single morning. Maggie and Perloff, 855-212-4227. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break.
With an Odyssey Sports Minute.
This is it, folks. The grand finale under the golden arches of the stadium. Grimace, Our favorite purple pitcher from McDonald Land is ready to deliver the final course. He winds up with a flare, and here comes the pitch, a sizzling fastball. The batter takes a
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie and Perloff Show, live from Radio Row in New Orleans. It is a little early here. It's still a bit quiet. I think maybe some people went out on a Sunday night in the Big Easy. Not us, because we have too much NBA trade stuff to break down, Maggie.
I know, really. It takes a lot to kind of throw any haymakers towards the Super Bowl on this week and towards the NFL, but the NBA did just that with the massive Luka Dončić trade. He goes to the Lakers. Anthony Davis comes to the Mavs, and those are just the headliners. Joe Varden covers the NBA for The Athletic. Close and tight with LeBron James. And Joe, thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
Well, I'm fine. There's a couple things that I need to mention. One, the last time I was on the show, Maggie, you were off, and so I was left alone with Andrew, so please don't ever do that again.
Major mistake. Hey. It was a major mistake. It will never happen again.
And then the second thing is, if you need tips on how to get into Cafe Du Monde without waiting in line, I'm your man.
Oh, wow. Okay, we'll tap into that. We will love a tip. It doesn't matter. We'll take whatever you have. Okay, so Joe, we're about 2 days or so. The trade is kind of setting in. What do you think was the biggest reason why the Dallas Mavericks decided to trade away Luka Dončić?
It has to be some kind of personality issue mixed in with the amount of money that they would have to invest in Luka. That's just what it comes down to. There is a stated reason that Nico Harrison, team president, and Jason Kidd, coach, gave yesterday in Cleveland, in which they're talking about how Davis particularly and also Max Christie they said they advanced the culture. I mean, what they were implying is that they were better fits for the culture. And they were saying it's because of defense, but that's not it. There's just something missing there. Luka Dončić is a generational talent. He's 25 years old. On teams that didn't have enough, he got them to the Western Conference Finals 3 seasons ago, and last season, of course, got them into the NBA Finals, and played competitively at times with Boston. So you say, well, by swapping him out for a player who is 7 years older, doesn't do the same things with the ball in his hands, that makes you a better team. That's just hard to buy. So you start thinking about, well, he would be due a $354 million Supermax contract extension as early as this coming summer. The Mavericks had expressed concerns that he wouldn't sign it, which would then lead them into a really crazy season next year. All that may be true, but the NBA still is just not quite set up to walk away from a player of the magnitude of Luka, and yet that's what happened.
Do you think the Mavericks believe they could win a title with Luka, or believe they couldn't win a title with Luka?
That has to be the case, Andrew. That's what's implied here. They got to the finals last year. They didn't have a strong bench. Kyrie shot poorly as a team. They couldn't hit from three, so they go out and sign Clay, saying that this is the missing piece to surround Luka and to a lesser extent Kyrie. So then to make a trade like this for a player like Anthony Davis, who is a 10-time All-Star, and it kind of stinks in a way when we have to talk about this, we make it sound like Davis isn't an exceptional generational talent, because he is, but he's not the same player as Luka. And you see what Luka has done for the organization in his 6 or 7 years, and it's astounding. And so, yes, you have to say that they are implying they felt that they would not win a title with him.
Joe Varden's joining us. He covers the NBA for The Athletic. And, Joe, you know LeBron. You're familiar with his sort of thinking, and you've been covering LeBron going all the way back to the Akron days. So you know this guy. First of all, do you think there's any way he didn't know about this? They said that he was blindsided by this as well. And 2, what do you think about the fit between him and Luka?
Well, I would say I would start with the third thing here, which is when I woke up, I admit I went to bed before this broke. So I woke up to the news about 7 a.m. yesterday. And my first thought actually was LeBron. And in part, it was because of, the relationship and the history that you just mentioned. But we know he's near the end. We know that. He's 40 years old. He's still averaging great numbers across the board, but he is slower. He's not able to be the best player on a championship team anymore. We know that because we've seen what's happened the last couple of years. And so then when you get a player like Luka, who ostensibly plays the same position and does the same things that LeBron does, a lot of the same things, I thought about that and thought about, well, does this mean that he has signaled to the Lakers, that he's going to be done, much sooner rather than later? And that may or may not be the case. And, the people around him openly admit that this is something that they're thinking about. No decisions have been made. But then when you get into the fit that you're talking about, he's played with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. He's played with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. And then he's played with Davis, and he's won championships with all of them. And so now there's another generational talent that he gets to play with in Luka. And Luka is probably as good or better than any of those guys mentioned. And Dwayne Wade's in the Hall of Fame. So Luka has a chance to be like that. And so you pair those two together, LeBron can play off the ball. He can play bigger as a 4 or even as a small ball 5 and there to help Luka. And also LeBron could stay on the ball and Luka could play off of it and move and catch and shoot. So, I do think this makes for yet another tantalizing duo offensively in the NBA, and they're going to be worse defensively. I mean, Davis was one of probably their best defenders, and what has gotten lost on people, I think, over the last couple of years, as the Lakers' defensive numbers have just been okay, and you have some questions about missed assignments, but Davis often had to make up for LeBron. They would often play a weak defender at the point or the 2 guard, and then LeBron just doesn't, because he's 40 and he's 38, 39, 40, he doesn't have enough to play as hard at both ends of the ball for 82 games. So, that's where he takes off, on occasion, and Davis was there to cover for him. They don't have that now. So that is going to be a challenge, but I do think it'll be fun to watch these two play.
Do you think there's any more moves coming for either team before the trade deadline?
I do. And when you think about, let's start with Dallas, and you think about what just happened, and you think about them saying that Davis and Max Christie give them a better chance, they advance the culture. Okay. You're just missing somebody who's averaging almost a triple-double, and you've got to find a way to make up for some of that. So what is the move that they can get? Is there, there is one more star available on the market. He makes a lot of money. That'd be hard to do. And then in LA, as we just got done saying, they are now centerless. The Bulls have finally waved the white flag, so to speak. They've traded Zach LaVine. Vucevic should be next. He would fit great with the Lakers. He'd fit great with the Warriors. And so, I am certainly watching both teams to see what happens between now and Thursday.
Yeah, and you were implying Jimmy Butler there, maybe for the Mavs, a guy who we know is available, gets paid a lot of money. Joe Varden joining us, covers the NBA for The Athletic. Last one for me, Joe, and it's, I feel like somewhere in heaven, David Stern is looking down with an approving smile that another superstar fell into the hands of the Los Angeles Lakers. And, for the non-Laker fans out there who are wondering, again, how do they keep getting this pipeline of superstars just keep always coming to LA, and this one via trade where most people think that the Mavs did not get nearly enough in return. Can you answer the question, why did the Mavs not shop Luka Dončić if they knew they were trading him? This urgency to trade him, Nico Harrison said this came together in a couple weeks. That's not that much time.
So these are hard questions for me to answer, because then it becomes as though the reason I give is what I believe to be the correct, this is why they did it, and I agree with it. And that's not necessarily the case, but, Nico and Rob Pelinka have been talking exclusively for a couple of weeks. There is a high amount of trust there that goes back to when Nico worked for Nike and Kobe Bryant was represented by Rob Pelinka, the agent. This was way before Rob ever took over with the Lakers. So they go back a really long time. That's the first thing. And then if we are to believe this, the Mavericks were focused on Anthony Davis. That's who they wanted. When you have Luka and you're putting him out on the trade market, could you get Giannis? I don't know. I mean, did you ask? With this kind of player who's 25 years old, there's probably no limit as to what you might be able to get. So, right now we have to take it at face value that they targeted Davis. That's who they wanted. They think that we are all not high enough on Max Christie. I guess that remains to be seen. So, the NBA world and the sports world, it's up for you guys to decide if that is a valid reason. But they have made it really clear that they wanted Anthony Davis, and now they have him.
All right, Joe, one word answer here. Who comes out of the West at the end of the season? I'm going to hold you to it.
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm going to say Oklahoma City. I think that they are more physical than they were last year. And I know that's a cliche, but I think Shea will do better with contact. And I love Jalen Williams, and they're doing all this without Chet. So Chet comes back healthy, gives them the rim protection that they don't have. They're not a great three-point shooting team, but things are slower in the playoffs anyway. So I'm going to say Oklahoma City in a very competitive bracket over there.
That's the hilarious part, right? They make this big blockbuster trade, Lakers and Mavericks, but we don't really think either of them are going to be going to the NBA Finals this year. Joe Varden covers the NBA for The Athletic. Thank you for the time, Joe. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate you. Let's turn our attention to Andrew Bogusch now, who's got all the latest with headlines. Hey, Bogusch.
Hey, guys. Good to talk to you one more time this morning. And it wasn't just you three arriving in New Orleans yesterday. The Chiefs and Eagles are now in town as well, and one can only imagine the farting on those planes with all those linemen. The Raiders reportedly hiring Chip Kelly to run Pete Carroll's offense, and Kelly may be making $6 million annually, which would make him the highest paid coordinator in the league. Kelly's been in college since going one and done as Niners head coach in 2016. Fresh off trading Luka last night, the Mavericks played in Cleveland without Anthony Davis and 5 of their remaining regulars, including Kyrie. They allowed 50 points in the first quarter, 91 in the first half, and they lost to the Cavs 144-101. Back in Dallas, fans are taking the news really well.
They could win every game the rest of the season and win the championship, and it wouldn't really matter because all of the emotional value and in that journey just got sucked away. But it feels like someone close to you died in a way, and there's lots of anger for sure.
Feels like somebody died.
Wow. Did you see they brought a casket to the arena?
I didn't see that, but I heard Amy Lawrence had a guest overnight who said, like, jokingly but seriously, there's like a memorial outside the arena as if something horrible had happened to Luka, like that he had died. I mean, it's a little overdramatic.
Yikes. What else we got?
Well, we've yet to hear from Sacramento, San Antonio, or Chicago after their big trade yesterday. The Kings sending De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs while getting back Zach LaVine and 3 first-round picks. The Bulls end up with 3 players and a first-rounder. Back on the court last night, the Celtics turned a 26-point third-quarter hole into a 118-110 win in Philly, 35 points for Jason Tatum. No John Morant again, but the Grizzlies still won in Milwaukee, 132-119. They've now won 7 straight meetings with the Bucks, and the Raptors are hot, winners of 8 of 10 after topping the Clippers 115-108. WNBA free agency. Tina Charles, number 2 all-time in points, first in rebounds, returning to Connecticut, where she began her career and won the 2012 MVP. And the Fever signing all-timer DeWanna Bonner as support for Caitlin Clark, who had her number 22 retired at Iowa yesterday. South Carolina did the same thing for Asia Wilson's number 22 as well. The Detroit Tigers are bringing back starter Jack Flaherty, 2 years, $35 million, according to reports. There's an opt-out next offseason. If he stays, Flaherty could make from $10 to $20 million in that second year if he was to make 15 starts this season. And from the NHL, the Red Wings surge continues.
To Brinket over the Vancouver line. Pass now to Raymond. Back to the Brinket. He scores! 6 in a row for the Red Wings. They are now officially in the playoffs.
Well, they're officially in playoff position atop the wild card standings after this 3-2 win in OT in Vancouver. The highlight from Ken Cal on Wings Radio. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thanks so much. We will take a quick timeout. We're back with more on the Luka trade and also the road to Super Bowl 59. It's Maggie and Perloff live from New Orleans. More next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, live from New Orleans, Radio Row. And, man, we've got so much football to get to, but the NBA kind of swooped in with this blockbuster trade that nobody saw coming. And you know what's funny about this Luka thing? And we've been talking about the trade all morning, Luka going to the Lakers, and now Anthony Davis goes to the Mavs, is just the stunning nature of the trade. I think the NBA has the ability to do this almost more than any other sport.
How so?
Because trades of this magnitude don't really happen in the NFL.
No, the NFL is not a trade league. I mean, lately they've been more than ever.
Lately, more than ever. Russell Wilson going to Denver and Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. But, like, you know, we usually get a bit of a heads up on this kind of thing. I guess the Russ one was a little bit of a surprise. But
Well, yeah, but if we ever had an NBA trade like this where there was no heads up, the player was disgruntled in any way, usually there's totally a heads up.
Yeah, but I don't even think the player was disgruntled. I really don't. I really do believe that this came from the team side, that they just didn't trust Luka to give him $354 million or didn't want to or thought it wasn't going to bring them a title or all these things and just said, you know what? It's like someone getting up early from the blackjack table, just like, I'm out. I don't even want to stick around for this. I'm walking away.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me, too. When you look at the standings, there's a really good chance both teams, well, the Mavs look like they're going to be a play-in team. Like, this might not.
Yeah, their odds didn't get better.
This might not do much. Well, of course, they just lost Luka Dončić.
I know, but they got Anthony Davis. Like, this is who they wanted. This is who they thought was going to pay out in the short term.
Yeah, no, I know, but we all know they just gave up Luka Dončić. So the funny thing is, like, it might not amount to anything in the playoffs. It might just be that. That's the weird thing about it. It feels like an all-time NBA trade, but to be an all-time NBA trade, it has to result in a title for one of these two teams. And honestly, I definitely don't see the path for the Mavs. The Mavs are really walking a fine line because their players are so old. I just don't see the path for the Lakers yet. I think that's a yet, right? Like, would you like to see them make one more move, bring in a little bit of size?
Yeah, I think they probably will, but are they winning this year? Maybe. Maybe Luka is so ticked off that he got traded and he's taking it so personally, but I think that he was already a great player, and this is not someone I would have given up on if I were Dallas. That's me.
Well, ticked off.
He ticked off now because
Is Luka the kind of player who can, like, carry a team like that?
Well, so Giannis had some quotes about this yesterday about just how fragile things are in the NBA, and you know, you can be an all-NBA player and you could think that you have all this security and you really just don't. And I think this is like a one-off. I don't really think this is going to become the norm. This is not the way that people do business generally in the NBA. Actually, the last time I feel like I saw something like this was when the Knicks, EJ, called the Mavericks about Kristaps Porzingis. And basically just said, hey, do you want him? And they didn't try to shop him or anything, and they got him out of town. And to be honest, I think that was a mistake by the Knicks.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. I mean, it worked out kind of fine because they got some pretty good players out there, and Kristaps didn't do anything in Dallas. But that was what this reminded me of. And my dad texted me, he's a big Knicks fan, texted me the same thing. He's like, EJ, I feel like this is your scenario deja vu from years ago when you said, why didn't Knicks call around the league to shop Kristaps Porzingis? Same thing with Dallas, but this is on a much bigger scale.
Oh, definitely.
Like Luka Dončić, we were talking about top 5. I mean, he's arguably a top 3, top 2 caliber player. So I don't get it. It just does not compute to me.
Yeah, and you can call us at 855-212-4227. Nadal is in Dallas. Nadal, is everyone working through this?
Hey, good morning. Well, you know, I don't know how to explain it. It's like God just turned on a Hoover vacuum and just sucked the air out of Dallas. You know, it is unbelievable. And yes, it is true. There was a casket in front of American Airlines Center. There was jerseys, flowers. It was a memorial service. It's crazy. As you may remember, I'm not a native of Dallas. I moved here about 3.5 years ago from Kansas City, but I was a huge Luka fan, and I became a Mavs fan last year. Took both my sons, Kareem and Omar, to about 5 or 6 games since we moved here. We love Luka, and we named one of our cats after him. I mean, the guy is he's a god here. Okay, I mean, plain and simple. I just read the headline, the newspaper here at the gas station. You know, Luka is ours. You know, and people are shocked, dumbfounded. There's no logical explanation for it. You know, this whole conditioning excuse and whatever, it just does not make sense. I mean, he still produced. I get his conditioning. I get that, right? But it doesn't make sense.
Nadal, and you've seen teams that will, they'll pay players coming off of serious injuries. They'll, stick with players through thick and thin. And it felt like, for the conditioning and maybe no one even said attitude. It's just, I think the conditioning, that's really what scared them off. And yet they made a trade for a guy who, when healthy, is awesome, but is 7 years older and has his own injury issues. Right. So it's like, were you really that worried about the consistent effort? Or not that Anthony Davis doesn't give effort, but the consistent availability?
You're exactly right. So to sum it up, I mean, if you want to break it down and dumb it down, Jason Kidd is dumbfounded. Luka's dumbfounded. All the players, all the stars, like you mentioned, KD on the bench of last night's game was dumbfounded. Patrick Mahomes sent a tweet. All these, all these players. Everybody's just. It does not make sense. We're missing something here. Something is going on that nobody knows about. Hopefully, you guys, with all your resources as sports media celebrities and all your resources and all the reporters out there, somebody's got to dig something up because something is going on between Luka and this GM Nico, or maybe the owner. I don't know. Listen, look, Mark Cuban, if he was when he was still majority owner, he was asked, if it comes down to it, is it going to be your wife or Luka? And he flat out said, I'm sure he was joking, but he flat out said, look, you might as well come down to the courthouse and be a witness to my divorce.
I know.
You know what I mean? So I'm sure he was joking, and he had to, buy his wife some major jewelry. But the point of it is you just don't get rid of a guy like that. At 25 especially. You're getting AD at, 30, 31. You have Kyrie in Dallas at 32. And then, Clay, who's averaging 13 points a game at 34. Like, it does not make sense. It's just,
Nadal, we're all dumbfounded. And thank you so much for the call and for telling us the vibe in Dallas right now. And I think understandably, it's a sad one because you put all your faith and hope and a guy actually gets to the finals and you're thinking he might be ahead of schedule. See, that's the thing with Luka. Some people think he's ahead of schedule and some people think that we've already seen the best of him. Right. Like, who's going to end up being right here? I don't know, but I would have bet on that we haven't even seen the best of him yet. And because
what makes you say that?
Well, I feel like that's the trend generally with the NBA. Like, look at the Celtics with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Like, it took a minute. It took some heartbreak. It took some failure, and then finally they broke through. I don't know why we would have thought it would have been any different for Luka, but
I don't know. It's just it's not just a fitness. It's a style of play too, right? I mean, like, it just feels like I could see a lot of NBA teams be like, nah, we're good with that. Like, does the ball ever move in Dallas? Do you know where the ball is on every single play? It's in Luka's hands.
Right.
So, and just again, name
but
the
who's
one.
stopping him? Like, even if it's in his hands.
I went over a conversation. Name one player who's had the style play of Luka who's ever won a title.
Well, but is this person in this style of play kind of pretty new? Like, how far back are we going with guys who have played this particular way? Unless you want to go back to, like, the World B. Freeze and stuff, or the Bernard Kings.
To high usage, like, scorer guys, like, forever.
Okay, but
averaging almost a triple-double.
I mean,
6'8". He's kind of a unicorn now.
Name a player who plays like him that's won a title. Just joke. I went over.
I feel like
Kawhi's close. Jokic, Kobe, Jordan, LeBron. They're all different than Luka.
But think about the caliber though. Like, you're saying people like that are not like Luka?
Luka's does not play basketball like those guys. He plays like James Harden, Russell Westbrook. He plays like those guys.
Okay, but he's
all
already
those guys like pass the ball, move. Like, Luka is very, very ball dominant. You know who's a little like Luka? And EJ Shea plays a little like Luka. I'm very curious. Does he get over the top, or does he change his style a little bit?
So the one thing about those guys, and I know it's like bad now to say like Harden and Westbrook and these guys, it's like this biggest diss that you can possibly give somebody is that they play like them. But to be honest, like, Luka had already, besides Westbrook, who got to the finals with Kevin Durant and James Harden, and who was not the 1A, Luka did get to a finals playing that way. So it's not like they kept flaming out. Like, is he carrying teams that would never have gone to the finals and getting them to the finals. James Harden couldn't get to the finals when he's playing with Westbrook or Chris Paul. He had these other big stars around him. I mean, Luka's getting to the finals with Gafford and Lively and, and Kyrie. Yes, Kyrie. But Kyrie, we weren't really sure what Kyrie was going to be. His stock was in the toilet when they traded for him.
But there's also the reality, though, of like when we say, oh, look at what Harden and Westbrook did. Well, I mean, Harden lost to the Warriors. Okay, so it's not like he was
in Game 7, by the way.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not saying he didn't play well, but like it's not like he had a better team and he came up short and they lost some upstart team that he lost to a dynasty. Russell Westbrook had no players really around him, so we can compare those guys and say, okay, yes, he plays like those guys, but what if you built a team around Luka Dončić better than those Rockets teams or better than those Thunder teams?
But Luka makes everyone around him worse. That's the problem.
I totally disagree with that.
PJ
Washington went to Dallas last year, and he was one of the best players in the playoffs. He was in Charlotte. His career was mired in mediocrity. He was a bust.
Again, then how come like a player like this hasn't won the title? Because you need to. First of all, you need a defensive player. Like you need Kawhi. That's what wins the title at the end of the day.
Right, but I mean at the same time, I look at that Dallas Maverick team and. I don't know how is Derek Lively scoring without Luka Dončić's offense? How is PJ Washington scoring without Luka Dončić passing the ball? Like these guys, they're not creators. Now maybe you could argue that you can't build a team the way you want to build a team to win a title. But I'm saying the guys that they've brought in, all those guys, their numbers have went up playing with Luka Dončić. The plus minus numbers are obvious.
Well, I think
so. I don't know how they adjust now that you don't have that hub of an offense with these players unless they really revamp the team around Kyrie and AD. Kyrie's a ball dominant guard.
He's
like
ball
he's the
dominant
kind of guy,
and small.
and he's smaller, and he's about assists. He's way lower than Luka Dončić.
Yeah, they might add a shot creator, right? Because they've built around Luka, so nobody dribbles and makes a move anymore here in Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just look at like the great championship players. Like Luka doesn't fit squarely into that list with me. I mean, I'm thinking like, listen, I was going high end players.
Well, he is high end.
Well, yeah, but not like Kobe Jordan.
Well, not Kobe Jordan, but at this moment, he's one of the best players in the NBA.
But he's not a guy who's so guaranteed. Like, there's no way Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant were not winning titles. Like, he's not that's the upper echelon. I don't think he's there. Unless if you guys think he's like in top 5 players of all time.
I mean, the numbers
to Kobe Bryant, to Michael Jordan.
Nobody has done the points, rebounds, assists that he's done except for LeBron James in their first few years and Nikola Jokic, champions. And the one thing I want to mention too real quick is I wonder if we're in an era where we kind of say it's kind of like the football, honestly, before Mahomes, where it's like, well, we see these guys just get their ring. Because, like, you got Jason Tatum last year, who we said could never win a ring. Then he won. Then Jokic could never win a ring. Then he won. Yeah. Then Steph Curry, he'll never win a ring without Kevin Durant again. Mm-hmm. He won. Giannis, he'll never win a ring. He can't shoot free throws. He can't shoot. Doesn't have a bag. He won. Like, we're not in the Patrick Mahomes era of the NBA where there's some team or some guy laying around like Jordan being like, nobody's getting there. It's like, is it maybe a time where he just finds a way to get one at some point?
Yeah.
So you guys think the Lakers are winning when?
I don't know.
I mean, it's the Lakers, so like the odds are probably at some point they always win. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but
I just wonder if they're still going to win with Luka and LeBron. Like, when this trade first happened, my first thought was LeBron. He thinks that he can win a title with Luka. Then you get more into it, and it's like, well, the Mavs actually called them. They served up a superstar on a silver platter. You have to take it. And I was thinking, like, man, did they do this with LeBron in mind? I always thought everything the Lakers did was with LeBron in mind. Now I'm not so sure. Because I wouldn't have automatically put these two together. But to be fair, the Lakers had, probably wanted to do something. They've been with a version of this team, and they haven't been a playoff team.
I wish I would have asked this early in the show because I've really been thinking about this a lot. Do you guys think there's – not that they will do it. I feel like they really should be working to shop LeBron James. Like, because to me, like,
he's got a no-trade clause.
Right, but if you tell him, look, you're not in our future plans, right? Like, we're not going to win a title probably with this team constituted. Like, let's get you to another piece. Let's say if you could send him to a team that has the kind of players you think you would need to fit around Luka Dončić, wouldn't LeBron James get you a massive haul? You could do the opposite of what Dallas just did.
I know.
And shop him around.
I think a 40-year-old LeBron would get a massive haul?
Yeah.
For a team that's trying to win a title? Like, if you were Houston, would you not trade for LeBron James? If you're the Knicks, would you not trade for LeBron? These teams
Warriors?
that are, like, right outside the cusp? I think you have to consider it.
The only thing is, though, is I think LeBron has not been totally honest about how much longer he wants to play.
Right.
So that's kind of a tough spot. It's like, do I get this guy for a year, for 2? It's a little like Aaron Rodgers, a little bit like with your Jets, you know? Do I have to tailor everything now around him? Do I have different coaches? Are we a clutch team now? Does Bronny have to come?
Yeah.
Must we find a spot for Bronny? Wow. Okay, well, this was a great show. We're off to a great start here in New Orleans for the week of the Super Bowl. Thank you to EJ Stewart, Manny Rodriguez, Andrew Bogusch, and Andrew Kaplan back at the shop. Justin Tucker and Bobby Dotson. Justin Tucker, this is unfortunate. He's our engineer, one of them, one of these brilliant engineers who get to work with us. Name happens to be Justin Tucker. Not the football guy who turned out to be a major creep, allegedly. Just a guy doing his job, doing it well. Thank you to Dave Marinick, of course. You guys on the phones, Joe Varden, who joined us from The Athletic. We're back tomorrow from Radio Row. We'll see you there.
You're in a 5-minute break.